All right, we are live with Jonathan D. Hall. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. I'm glad to be here. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'm super stoked to have you here right now. Honestly, this is super exciting for me because this is the first podcast with the big Christmas tree.
Hey, festive.
Yeah. So here's the funny thing, though. Here's the funny thing about the Christmas tree, why I'm kind of internally getting a good little chuckle out of this, is you're only seeing the Christmas tree if you're watching live. And
okay.
it only makes sense if you're watching live.
Because
otherwise, it's probably like February or March right now. So
Right.
it's like
You're late.
kind of funny.
Yeah,
So it's like, sorry for the Christmas tree, I guess. You're probably trying to like get over the Christmas
Right.
vibes, you know? But hey, we're right in it. We're in the
It's
thick
good.
of it. It's December, you know? It's good
good.
times. We're actually in that like 1 week of California where it's actually cold.
Yeah, it's crazy. Because I used to live in Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
And so it's like I've been out of the element for a little bit, but I'm like, you know what? It's actually kind of getting a little bit chilly.
Yeah.
Not as crazy as it used to be. In
Dude,
Minneapolis,
it's so
but
cold.
Yeah.
It's so cold. I mean, it's cold to me. I'm from like Georgia and Arkansas and
okay.
Oklahoma. That's where I lived
Okay.
growing up. But then like, it's getting cold. Like, especially for me, I take a boosted board, an electric skateboard. That's how I get around everywhere.
Oh, cool.
But like recently, it has been the coldest thing. Like I get up on this hill because on the way to work, there's like this big hill, and then you go up and then you go down. You know, and on the way down, you just have the wind just blowing in your face every morning. I'm like, ugh.
Hey, hoodies and turtlenecks. You
Dude,
good, man.
I dread it. I know it's like every time I'm coming up that hill, I'm like, this is fun, but it's about to suck so bad. But also be fun. That's the
Right,
thing.
right.
Like, it's fun because I'm going downhill and I'm so fast, and
Yeah.
it's like good times. But then I'm also terrified because I'm like, man, if I get thrown off of this thing going 20 miles an hour right now,
Be a done deal.
it's gonna be a bad day. Like, there's so many thoughts going on in your head while
Right.
you're going down that hill. You know, it's
I
like
feel you, man.
every day I feel that every day. All right, so give everybody just like a little bit of an overview in your own words, just kind of what it is you've got going on.
Yeah, so I've been mentoring brands for about 2 years now,
Mhm.
just brands starting out. I kind of saw that there was a need for brands and businesses to have like a mentor to kind of guide them through some challenges, some roadblocks that they might be seeing, or not seeing coming up ahead. But it looked like a lot of the mentors that were attaching themselves to these businesses and entrepreneurs were charging like a gang of money.
Right.
And it's like, this is a small business where a customer or entrepreneur doesn't have a lot of money. They're just starting out. They're like, hey, I've got a logo, I've got an idea, and I need help.
Right.
And a lot of them don't even have like the paperwork to get their business registered or any inclination of what to do. So I kind of started a mentorship program along with services that I do charge, and said, hey, let's go through this and get your business right on track. See if I can help out and maybe boost something or connect you with some other business or somebody in my circle, and just do that for a month or two and see where it goes. And if you want my services later, then we have the relationship, we know each other, and let's move forward.
Yeah.
So it's been really tough because I've been like giving out advice for like the last 15 years. Like, I had friends that have started businesses, and even when I used to work in corporate, it's like, hey, have we tried this? It's like, no, we haven't tried that. And pretty much it kind of got to where my wife was like, you're giving out a lot of good information and insight and advice. You might want to try to monetize it.
Right.
So I took the advice and did that, but I didn't want to get away from the mentoring aspect of companies that needed it, because it could be the jump where it's like, oh yeah, I'm monetizing it, let me move to big businesses and mid-size. But it's like, no, there's these entrepreneurs that have great ideas that need a step.
Okay, so I'm glad that you brought this up. Like, even though we're literally just in the beginning stages of this, I'm getting super excited because literally I just figured this shit out.
Yeah.
Just now, like just recent, like the perfect answer to what you're talking about right now, right? So this is really creeping me out because like I've been thinking about this for literally like a week now. So here, I guess you really do get back what you put out into the world, you know. So with this, with the, I'm sorry, I totally lost my train of thought. Can you tell me like a little bit of what you were just saying again?
Yeah. So pretty much just helping entrepreneurs that are really starting out, where it's like, I have an idea.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know where else to go. Yeah.
So here's my ultimate strategy that I've developed. Right. Mm-hmm. So I just launched my merch store, shop@michaelbisbell.com. Check it out if you haven't seen it already. But with my store, I just started putting in digital products. And so one of the things you'll actually get for being on the podcast, you may have gotten it already.
Yeah, I did.
The text message. Yeah, so you've already seen it. Yeah. I've developed this whole tool to like help all of my podcast people to be able to post 2 times a day, every single day for 365 days. Yeah. Super easy. They just boom, 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 boom. You're done. You know, it's like you get it done. So I sent that out to all my podcast guests, and I've been hooking everybody else up as I go with it for free. I give them a code and like gives it to them for free and everything. And so here's the thing. I wanted to have a free tool, right? Because I believe that everything should ultimately be free, or you should be teaching someone how to do it. Yeah. So my workaround on how I can make money and stay profitable, but also fulfill my itch of like being the good person and like getting that deal in, you know? Basically all I do is I posted the thing for its value, you know, like I did some research and I posted it for its accurate value. Mm-hmm. And then what I do is if I have content where I'm giving it away for free, like maybe to a podcast guest or something, I give them the code to make it free. So instead of just sending them the download, right, I actually send them to my website, give them a free code to download it themselves from my website. Yes. And so, and here's what that does. The other thing too is you make like videos for your YouTube channel or something. Like that's what I'm working on right now, is some videos where it's like tutorials and exactly how to use it. But you take your videos that you make, and then at the very, very, very end of the video, I give a free code. It's like, hey, if you watch this all the way to the end and you now completely understand how this tool works, here's a free code, and you don't actually have to pay for this tool. So thank you for being diligent and listening to this video all the way through and doing your research.
That's smart. Yeah.
That's my strategy. So I'm gonna be doing that. Well, I am doing that right now. I've already released the things, but like people are buying the tool as a tool, like as a tool by itself. So that's the thing. It's like it's already generating money from people that are not willing to wait for the free content to come out or the workaround. They don't want to watch the whole video. They just watch 3 seconds of it and they're like, oh, that's cool. Let me buy that.
It's the perfect time to do that because none of us want to wait for anything.
Yeah.
I mean, we just
But the thing is, it's like you're not even really taking advantage of anything because it's like, dude, just watch the whole video and you would have got it for free. Like, I tried to give it to you. Like, I did my best.
Yeah,
like, you know,
that's how it is. But
you chose to give me the money at that point. That's how I like.
Yeah, we want everything right now, though. That's
exactly.
Just how it is.
And so it's like you're paying for the convenience.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like the whole way that I've established that whole like digital products game. And then the cool thing too is like anything that I make, I also will make videos about how to make it. So it's like if you want to go into Excel and make your own tool, then I'll show you like how I'll have a video, for example, that shows how the equation works, and I'll have another tool that shows like how to like reference to other cells, and another tool that shows like how to make it like change depending on what you put in or whatever, like the different things that go into the tool that make it a handy tool, you know.
That's good.
And so it's like you could go and reverse engineer it if you wanted. So if you're completely broke, you have no money, and you didn't even see the video, like we're at the end, I'm like, oh yeah, and here's the tool for free, and you didn't catch that, there will also be tutorials on how to make that tool. So like if you don't have the money, you didn't see the video to get it for free, but you really need the tool and you can't afford it, you can watch the videos to learn how to make it and make it on your own. But here's the thing, I still get their attention because they're watching me for every single step on how to make it, and then they trust me and like follow me for like other things, and that's how you build an effective brand. So it's like I'm super excited about this strategy because I'm not gonna do it like most people. They just build a product, and then they just throw it out there, and then occasionally they may put a sale on or something like that. But in general, it's like, here's the product, here's how much it costs. There you go. Like, you know, do it yourself or buy it for convenience, basically. That's like the setup. That's like, but my thing is kind of reverse engineering it to make it like it's gonna be free if you like are diligent. Like if you're actually watching the content and engaging and being a member of the community, it's free 100%. Yeah, you just have to watch the video. So it's like,
and if you don't, you're gonna be paying me.
Yeah, it's either way, like either way.
Yeah, and I think it's a good thing that you're doing, because it's very important to to gain the trust of people.
Exactly.
And not like try to reel them in and bait them in. It's like, no, this is something I know to do. Here, take it. If you want it, it's going to give value to you whether you watch me again or not.
Exactly. But see, here's the trick though, right? So people have this thing. There's a word for it, but I can't remember exactly what the word is. But people have this psychological trigger, like as a human being, unless you're like specifically like a narcissistic like type of mentality where like you literally only think of yourself in situations, you don't think of things altruistic. Like most people think of other people in the equation. Like even if it's a small knit group, you don't think of things just like solely about how it affects like just you. It's not never, things are never a just you situation kind of a thing. And so the way that people are hardwired is to feel like it's kind of, for lack of a better term, I feel bad using this term, but for lack of a better term, it's kind of a guilt thing. Yeah. So when you associate a value to a free product, even if you're giving it out for free, right? And that's the intention, is that they don't spend the money, but that they get it for free. Right. By putting a monetary value on it, like for example, I valued this particular tool, the one that we're talking about right now, is at $125, right? Mm-hmm. So you can pay the $125 for the tool, but whenever they get it for free, they see it's not just this free thing, here, try it, use it if you want. It's this $125 thing that you got for free. Yeah. And so it kind of creates this loyalty of like, on a subconscious mental level, it makes the person feel that they owe you $125 worth of something. Okay. Whether that be attention because they're liking and commenting on your photos more, whether that be like shouting you out in something of theirs, whether that be like talking about you and later on about like whenever they're successful and be like, yeah dude, I did this with this tool that I got from this guy, and like spreading that and that helping you in that way, it always comes back around somehow. And so it's like the trick of doing the monetary value that way though, and like making it an object that you can purchase and making it a value, is that you're not just giving this thing that may or may not work, that's just like for free, like, you know, that makes it seem disingenuous. It's free, like it's like, oh, you're just giving it away, like what, like, did nobody want to buy it? And so like it makes it make more sense, you know. It's like it's no longer just this free thing, like who cares, it's this $125 thing that you can get for free. And so it's like whatever that value is, or whatever your tool is, or whatever the thing is that you're doing with that's a very effective like looping method for branding, and it's a very honest, like authentic strategy too, because it's not like taking advantage of anyone. In fact, on the other end is giving them the potential to take advantage of you. So it's literally true. Like you're literally giving them the weapon, being like, hey, if you want to take it for free, there you go, whatever. But like you know, it
can be tough sometimes, you know, making yourself vulnerable like that, you know, especially with what I do. I try to give people as much value as possible. And sometimes it's like, hey, should I make this decision that could change my company in the future, or should I just go back to work? Like, I've had them asking me, like, should I do that? And it's really hard, because I'm like, you have a good product, or you have a vision, a goal, and I want people to follow that. Yeah. But if it makes more sense for you to work a little bit longer and stack cash for that goal, or try another route, that's fine.
And ultimately, only you know. Yeah. Like, if you truly are like an entrepreneur and a business owner, at the end of the day, only you know the path that's going to work for you, because only you have that mindset and that mix of chemicals and those memories and experiences that make you who you are. Right. Nobody can, like, as good of a mentor as you might be, it is literally impossible for you to sit down and to know someone 100%, because no person knows themselves 100%. Exactly. Because when you think on your memories, you literally change your memories every time you think back, like little details here and there. And over time, that starts to stack up. So it's like, if I can't even recant to you exactly who I am, and you'll know, there's no way for you to know, because I can't remember. So it's like this whole thing of like, you can only really be the person that you are in that moment, kind of a deal, you know. So it's like, I don't know. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's difficult sometimes because, you know, you have somebody that's really being sincere, like, I don't know what to do. I have this thing that I love. My family or my people that I'm close with are saying, you should just go ahead and just wait on it. But I feel that I need to move on it. And then when it comes to just asking the right questions, like, I really dig down, like, is this something that you want to do? What if you do it 5 years from now?
Yeah.
What's that 5 years going to look like? Are you going to be satisfied? Are you going to be happy looking towards that 5-year mark where you're going to like be like, I'm going to launch it? Or is there potential that the idea that you have is probably going to be out there in the world? What do you want to do? You know, so it's ultimately they make the decision, but I just kind of ask them the questions to kind of stoke that.
Yeah.
To be like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. Maybe I could wait a year, stack a little cash, or get a little bit more insight, or find a partner.
And here's the thing, like, you can wait a year, stack a little cash, but that doesn't mean that you stop.
Right.
Like, at any time in that next year, something could take off.
Yeah.
Like, you just think it's like, I mean, I've worked a full-time job for 3, 4. How many years have I been working full-time for? I don't even know. Like, ever since I graduated high school.
Yeah.
So, like, I graduated high school in 2014. It's about to be 2019.
Yeah.
I started in January. So, yeah, it's be about 5 years now, like, of consistently working a full-time job. And I'm now, after 5 years of working a job, I'm about to be starting in January, like, working remote. So I won't even be going into the office. I'm be traveling and being wherever I might be. Who knows where I'm going to be. Like, I don't know. I'll be doing this, like, that's somewhere random in the world, you know. Right. That's, like, been my ultimate dream. That's everything that I've worked towards for, like, this whole time. Like,
and that's fast. Like, how do you feel about it kind of happening pretty quickly?
I mean, fast perspectively, because of my age and, like, the time of, like, oh yeah, it's right after high school kind of a thing. But I also was forced to grow up very early because of, like, my childhood circumstances and, like, everything that happened to me, like, growing up and everything like that. And so, like, my mindset was very different growing up, where I very much so utilized the time where I had to, like, sit around and not have to pay bills and stuff. So it's like, like, I played multitudes of instruments. Like, that's how I started everything. When I moved out to California, I earned my first couple of months rent playing music at Huntington Beach Pier. Wow. And so it's like I built my website for music. I used to travel and do gigs and, like, all that kind of stuff. And then eventually it just kind of grew to the point where I was like, dang, this kind of sucks. Like, I don't like doing music anymore. It's a job now. And so I stopped, and I got the job that I have now and kind of work. I came to a point where I was like, man, like, I can either make this company better and I can make the job that I want, or I can quit and start my own company and probably, like, have the same results or better in the next couple of years. I chose to go ahead and stay with the company. The reason why is because although you have a smaller portion of the gain at the end of the day, because it's not your company, obviously, right. So, like, anything that you get, like, is never going to be any portion of the whole pie, because that's going to the owners and, like, the people that made the company, you know, even if it is something that you made from scratch, like this department that I made. And that's okay. Like, the reason why that's okay is although you take the smaller cut, you also don't deal with any of the people, you don't deal with any of the sales, you don't deal with any of the customers, you don't deal with the people working the strategy, you don't deal with the hourly workers, you don't deal with having to physically be in the office. You don't have to deal with any of that shit. You literally just make sure that the product itself, that the thing that people are buying is as good as it can be, and that's it. And then you apply that, and I also apply it to our company. Like, I apply my strategies that I've created and everything, like, for our company. Like, we're currently posting right now 2 times a day.
Nice.
So, yeah,
you're gonna be running that company soon.
I don't know.
I don't know. You keep bringing this value, man.
I mean, I've kind of gotten to the point where I'm about to become, like, the face of it as far as the social media thing goes, but running it, no, I'm not interested in that. That's what I was talking about. That was, like, the point that I was making, is I'm not interested in managing a bunch of people. Like, I'm interested in creating and moving on and traveling and seeing the next thing and meeting new people and making new connections and just living in the moment that I'm in. I don't want to be, like, I don't want to have to be chained down to one location where I have to constantly do the same thing over and over again, because that's not how my brain works.
Right.
It's like I told you earlier, like it's literally at the point right now where I'm just like begging for something to do because I'm so bored.
Yeah.
I just sit around all day, 8 hours a day, like trying to literally pass the time. Like, how long do I have until 4:30 until I get GTFO and start doing like fun stuff? Because I've already forward done all of my work. Like I've got nothing to do. Like literally, I'm just waiting for people, the sales guys, to make sales. I literally have nothing to do. I'm just like, I've made everything too efficient, and so like my team runs without me, and it's like I have nothing anymore.
Make more.
I do. That's the thing. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I've gotten to the point where I'm like sitting around literally like looking for shit to do because I'm like I don't know what else. And so I started making the website efficiency process more efficient because like yeah, there's like a whole lot of stuff that goes into that. But like basically now I'm working on making our website process more like making a WordPress website. Okay. Right now we're using like Photoshop and like doing the whole design thing, the whole 9 yards. Good. And I'm working on basically making it like using WordPress, just throw in some pictures and just you're done.
Okay. Yeah, I mean you've got it all figured out so far as that aspect. So
yeah, sometimes I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I do wish I started my own company, just because I would be making a hell of a lot more money right now. Because I've done the math. I mean, I've seen the sheets on like how much they make from the department I created and stuff, and it's like, and I know social media is free, so it's like other than the only labor cost is the physical devices, the place of us being there, and then like the cost of paying us to physically like be there and be hourly and do the stuff. So it's like. The cost that goes into, I mean, there's not really a whole lot that goes into online digital stuff. I mean, it's really just a matter of like knowing what to do, getting on the computer and doing it. You know, there's not really a whole lot more to it than that. There's not like all these, people think that it's like all these gates and walls and stuff, but it's like, yeah, there are some programs you need if you want it to be good and to be efficient and like, you know, have it run and stuff like that. So there are costs, but like, when you're talking like thousands of clients, that cost is like, I mean, it's literally like the cost stays the same no matter how many people you have. So it's like, eventually you get to the point where it's like, is there really even a cost? Like, let's be honest, like social media is basically free marketing. It is. But like, if you know what you're doing, you can make free marketing profitable. And that's what I've done is I've figured out in a really efficient way. You take a year of content every single every single week, one day a week, every single week, and basically you can brand almost any kind of niche, any kind of brand with content across every single platform. Yeah, it's really simple. Like it's just consistency and like platform native presence. Yeah. That's literally it. It's the balance of attention. Right. So when you think of it from the perspective of the other person, it becomes so much easier to really grasp how social media works and just how branding and marketing and getting yourself out there in general works. Because like, let me ask you this, okay? You're scrolling through Instagram or Twitter or whatever, you know, like, well, first off, what app do you use? Like, what is your
Instagram?
Mainly Instagram? Yeah. Okay, cool. That's why I said Instagram at first. I kind of got that vibe. So you're scrolling through Instagram, right? What makes you stop? Like, what would make you actually stop and read the content that was in a post, as opposed to just scrolling through and seeing pictures and just double tapping?
Well, the image is gonna catch me. A high quality image, number one. That'll be the start. Yeah. And then I'd actually, for me in my brain, I look to see how much text is actually in there, and then I'll end up looking at like, okay, they've got a pretty good amount. They're probably saying something.
Exactly. So, exactly. Okay, so that is exact. I'm glad you said that because you're proving my strategy right, man. Okay. So, like, literally, my Instagram posts are made to where the first snippet is an engaging little, like, quote, snippet piece of text. And then, like, you click view more and you have, like, this huge paragraph where it's, like, your take and interpretation on that. And it's got, like, shout-outs and hashtags and, like, all that, all professionally laid out and all that. That's what the tool does. The tool that you said you downloaded, like, if you got that, that's what that does. It pops that out at the end. You just pop in your like quotes and your text and that stuff, and like you fill out the thing, and then it pops out the CSV at the end where it's like, here's everything formatted and ready to upload.
Yeah, that's super simple, value, man.
Yeah, it's super awesome. I'm not gonna lie, I worked really hard. Basically, like what happened was I had to figure out how to do it. Well, I didn't have to, I've never had to do any of this stuff. Like, I've always just done it. Because, like, I get bored. Like, I sit around and I'm like, I don't want to sit here for 8 hours and just twiddle my thumbs. Like, it bores the crap out of me. Like, I mean, most people would be kicking their heels, be like, woohoo, I'm getting paid to do nothing. But I'm just like, I don't want to be here right now. Like, I would literally rather just take the pay cut and just not come to work and just not be there sometimes. Because it's like, I would just rather stay here and just work and do my stuff and, like, be productive and, like, actually get something done. You know, it's like, instead of just sitting there for 8 hours just staring at the computer being like, well, hopefully we'll do something today.
Some people are okay with that. That's the scary part.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Yeah, I can't do that either.
I can't. But I've just made it more and more efficient. Basically, like, when I started the social media department, I say we because, like, I've gotten so used to that, but it was just me. I literally went in. It was a 2.5 hour process, which is pretty impressive that I got it down to a 2.5 hour process in the first place for an entire year strategy. But I had to go in individually to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you know, each one. There was nothing to upload to Instagram at the time, so I had to use a program called Grambler to post to Instagram, which is like a black hat, like, desktop posting thing where you could, like, schedule and post out stuff to Instagram. And I figured out how to schedule content. And then I figured out how to share the Instagram content to other profiles when it's posted to Instagram. And so I, like, started this whole, like, networking thing where I figured out, like, how to share it to Instagram, post it to the ones we couldn't post it to directly.
So everything now is easy for you.
Yeah. And so it's like I had to, like, figure out these steps, and then now it's evolved to the point where I've found a program, and I'm super happy to be an official affiliate of theirs as well. But I found and partnered with a company where literally we create a CSV document, right? It's got, like, you know, the message itself, the date that it's going to go out, the link to the website you want to link to in the post, if you want to link to a website in the post, and then the link to the photo. So, like, you upload the photo to, like, an image hosting source, and then you have, like, a link for it, you know? Then you just put the link in the CSV.
Oh, okay.
And so it's, like, literally you fill out all that stuff, and it pops it all out, and you just upload the CSV to the posting platform, and then your entire however much you put in is done, and you don't have to sit there and, like, click a photo, type in the text, tag it, upload, tag it in, put it. You literally do the CSV, upload it, done.
Boom.
It's like 2 clicks.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
that sounds awesome, man. Yeah, I can't wait because I downloaded it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get started. Yeah, probably close to the new year.
Yeah, but I just did our second season for AdIQ. That's the name of the advertising company. And so, like, I do it in chunks of 3 months. It's what I call a season because there's 4 seasons in a month. So it's, like, super easy. 13-week chunks, you know, it's, like, super easy to kind of keep it 4 makes sense, like, over the course of the whole year to fill out, you know. So it's like you do it 4 times. Even if you do that 4 times all at once, if you wanted to spend, like, the long period of time to do that. I prefer to do it split up a little bit because you evolve, you change throughout the year, you know. And it honestly only would take, like, at most, like, if you're taking your time, maybe a week to fill this whole thing out.
Wow.
And that's if you're, like, a full week of, like, you just, like, dragging around, like, like staring at the ceiling, like Picassoing, like, what should I make this next pose? Like, not, like, on the grind, like, all right, all right, next one, next one, you know, like, because it depends on how you're working. Like, you know, if you've already got a bunch of posts in mind, it's going to be a super fast. You might have the whole year done like that. Like, that's how I was, because I'm very content fluid. So for my own brand, I was done in, like, 2 seconds. And then for AdIQ, because it's not my company, like, it took me about a week. Because it was I just had to think through their guys, like, through their eyes kind of thing. But even that in and of itself, I'm trying to figure out a way to sell that to other companies, too. Yeah. Like that ability to market their company. Because, like, if it only takes a week of work on my end, I wouldn't be doing, like, constant, like, management kind of stuff, you know? Yeah. But, like, it wouldn't interfere with my company, like the agency, because we only do weekly content for small to medium businesses. So I could actually target, like, big corporate businesses and, like, big agencies and stuff, but let it be where it's like I upload their content and do the 2 posts a day every day for 365 days thing, and, like, do it for their company. I could probably make that, like, a service thing. Yeah.
I think you should start that next week.
Yeah. I just don't know. I've been thinking about it recently. I think I'm going to do a splash page on my website, like michaelbisbell.com/services. I've just been trying to figure out a way to lay it out, like to lay out the services.
Make it simple, like you just talked about.
Yeah.
A year of content in X amount of time.
Yeah. Well, the reason why it's not so simple is because I have to also put into consideration I can't cross any lines with my agency. That's the thing. Like, it has to be, like, completely a separate, like, you know what I mean? Like, I've got to make sure that it's, which I'm pretty sure it is. I think I have it specified.
Yeah.
I just have to go in and, like, for real make sure, like, dot the I's and cross the T's. Because I'm not about to start something and then have them come knocking on my door and be like,
you can't be competing with
guess
what?
What?
Yeah,
exactly.
Is it industry specific, the company you work for? Are they, like, do they work with specific industries or just across the
No,
board?
we work with anyone. We have thousands of clients all over North America, United States and Canada. It's awesome.
Okay. Yeah. Talk to HR. See how much you could get away with.
Yeah.
If any.
I think it'd be all right because they don't offer that as a service at all.
Okay.
I've tried to get them to, but they don't offer that as a service. So, I mean, I think that's fair game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is fair game. I'd still check, but if they see it's going well, they'd be like, hey, what are you talking about again? Let's take a look at that service. Yeah. That's cool, man.
Who knows? I don't know. I'm thinking now, my gears are turning. I'm like, oh, man. I mean, because the thing is I wouldn't need that many people.
No.
Because, like, I mean, I've done my research, and I could probably nail, like, if I got big corporate clients, I could probably get a couple of them to pay anywhere between, like, $2,000 to $5,000 a month.
Yeah.
That's like a easy retainer.
I think that's kind of low. For
exactly. Exactly.
Serving,
So that's what I'm saying, like, easy, like easily. Where I could easily like grab the deal, like between $2,000 to $5,000 a month. Like that'd be an easy starting point. Like I've already got a budget to live comfortably and happy, like with my life with a couple and a dog and that everything with plenty of money to spare at $4,000 a month. Like and that's like splurging.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I've literally got a $2,500 budget when we were first moving out here, where I figured out a way to live here in California and still be happy, still have money for food and like to go out and hang out with friends and do your stuff, pay all your bills, but like it's just an efficient budget, like $2,500 all day. I was living in Irvine. We were happy. It was fine. Like
that's nice.
So it's like I'm really good at being efficient and like being being very hyper aware of like what's going on and what I have and what I need. That kind of thing,
That's good. You have to have that. I mean, there's a lot of people in businesses that don't have that awareness. It's just they're totally just in front, tunnel vision, and it's like, hey, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that on this side? And it's funny because I work with entrepreneurs that are kind of like just focused on where they want to go, and a lot of times they don't have focus on what they could do to get themselves there.
Right. Yeah, they're like looking for someone to come along and like give them the hand that like brings them there. It's like just do it yourself, man.
Just do it.
Like
there's a lot of stuff that I'm like, all you have to do is this. They want to go through this service and it's gonna cost you an extra $200-$300. So it's like if you do it yourself, you can get it done in a week and a half.
Yeah.
And you'll hear back in a month, and it'll be yours for $30-$40.
Yeah.
So. And I just think that that's our society. There's a lot of things that we just want other people to do.
Yeah.
And then we complain when it's like, oh man, I have to do this myself. And it's just the easy stuff.
But on that same end, though, I do think, and I was just talking to one of my friends about this, like literally yesterday, so it's kind of funny too. You have to know when to let go.
Yeah.
Because like and that was one of the things with the social media thing, is I was doing the math and I realized like, my time is my most important thing to me. I want to be able to travel and make videos doing what I want to do, living my life, like being with my family. Like I want to have my thing, I don't want to be constricted to like have someone with their thumb that can have any say whatsoever on what I can and cannot do. Yes. I'm like, I've already been through that with my parents and that whole like growing up experience. Like I'm not interested in that. I'm like, I've grown past that, I'm living I'm an adult. Like I don't need someone to tell me when I can and cannot be in a certain place. And like, that just really is super aggravating to me. And it's like the only reason why that's possible is because for a period of time, I had to put my faith in someone else's ability to sign a paycheck for me over my own ability to provide for myself.
Yeah.
But now I'm finally at a point where it's like I can provide for myself. Like it's like kind of feels better to like my relationship with the agency now is positive because it's like I'm only there because I want to be. Like it's literally at that point where it's like if I really wanted to, like I just said, I could just call a couple big corporate companies and sell them, and like I would just keep calling, and eventually I sell like one or two,
right?
And then that's double my monthly budget.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, well, cool, I'm done now. Like, and then like I just said, it takes like a week or two of work because I've got it efficient. I've got this process down.
Yeah.
So it would take me like a week or two, and then it would be done, and I wouldn't touch it for like a year.
Yeah. Just from putting in the work.
Like it would take a week, but the cool thing is that it's not really a week of work because I've put in all the previous time to like lead up to it being a week, but it's like efficient enough for me where it's like if I ever am like strapped and I'm like, oh crap, I need to like make some money, I need to figure something out, it's like just start reaching out to some big companies, be like, yo, let's do this. Let's go.
No, that's true.
Yeah,
it's funny that you say just reach out to, because that's kind of how like outbound I got my clients and my mentees is, I look at their pages and look at their websites and be like, and just call them up or email them or DM like, hey, have you thought about doing this? I like your brand. Here's some advice.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay, well, how much your services? I'm like, just, this is just what I'm thinking. I think your stuff is cool. I think your art is cool. Whatever it is, this is just something I saw. If you want to know about me, we're linked through DM, whatever. You can see my IG, but I just wanted to say this to you. And that's what I try to get across to a lot of people. I'm like, just ask.
Yeah.
They're like, well, how do I? But I want to collab with. Like,
and you don't ask, and you don't lead up the question with the like asking to ask.
Right.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Because you have like 3 seconds of their attention.
Yes.
And if the first words of your sentence are not your question that you want them to actually see, and it's a higher profile person, there's a 90% chance that they have no clue what you want them to do. Because they're going to see, I just wanted to ask you a quick question.
Yeah.
And next.
Yeah.
I just had a quick next.
Yep.
But like when they see, when they see like, I want to work together on this, or I'm doing a charity event and I thought you would be like, and then they're like, oh wait, what? What's going on? Let me read this message. What's going on?
Yeah, and it's research too. How I've landed like sponsors for events and things. I see what they actually want.
Yeah.
And what they need and what they're about. Like, for example, reaching out to liquor sponsors. At this time of the year, they're going to get, hey, we've got this dope event going down and we want you guys because yada yada. They're going to see 1,000 of those. But in reality, they probably booked all their events a year ahead of time.
Exactly.
So if you're going to come in this late, you got to say something pretty compelling like, hey, your charity, yada, yada, yada. Just something to let them see that you mean business. But like you said, the asking, like, it's got to be very specific. It has to be.
And it's kind of cool too because it's like it's super easy to ask now because you don't even have to call.
Yeah.
You can make yourself a template.
Yes.
And that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, like how I book my guests on here is I go on Shaper and Bumble Business. I just swipe on everybody and I send them a templated message. And if people are like the positive mindset, like here's my thing. This is like what I call it's called I don't have a better term for this. And now that I'm thinking about it in my head, it doesn't actually sound like the best term in the world. But I don't have a better term, so I'm just gonna say it. I call it the. Oh man, I totally lost it. My brain was like, "Nope, you're not saying that." And like, it was like, I don't care if you decided it's not coming out. Dang. What was I gonna say? I don't know, but basically, my message that I send out has, for lack of a better like analogy, is become like a bait kind of a thing. But it's like bait in the aspect of like it catches mindseted people that are like me, which is the kind of people I want in my show. Like I don't want a bunch of negative people that think that they can't do anything and are like gonna come on here and be like, oh, I've been struggling so hard and I'm probably never gonna make it. In the next 5 years are gonna be hell, and judgment's coming down, and the fires are gonna burn the world away. Like I'm not interested. Like if like I'm only interested in like people that are living life and positive and looking for tomorrow and trying to live and create a better world for us, because that's like ultimately all we have. So it's almost like a bait filter kind of thing where I send out the message, and then first off, it's a templated message. It's very obvious that it's a templated message, but in a good way. Like you read it and it's like professional. And it's like, oh, wait a second. Okay, I see what's going on here. This is the podcast. I see. Okay, cool. And then what happens is if they're just like, no, I'm not interested. It's a templated message. That kind of person is not serious about their brand.
No.
Because for me, if someone sends me a message and is like, dude, I love what you're doing. How's it going? I figured you would be a really good guest for my podcast. Let's connect and talk about it some more. I'd be like, oh, hell yeah, let's do that, bro. I want to be on that podcast. Let's go. So, like, I would be excited, you know? So it's like, it's kind of that filter to find people that are like me. Because it's like, if there's no excitement where they can't even be like, oh, man, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
To where we can then have an authentic conversation. It's just a very good opener. Because, like, although it's direct, like, you know from the beginning of the conversation, like, I'm trying to have you on the podcast.
Right,
you know?
And that's what I got, too.
Yeah.
When I saw it, I'm like, okay, see, it's...
Yeah.
Right, he's got some stuff going on. Then I, obviously checked.
Yeah.
I checked all the links. I'm like, so he's serious.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this.
Yeah, exactly. And I've recently added a section to my website, too, which I'm super proud about. I'm about to add it to my template here soon where I start sending it out to people. Mm-hmm. But I'm still working on getting some images from a couple of my older guests, like the first guests that I had. One of them is like a realtor, so most of his pictures are of houses and stuff, not of himself.
Right.
So, like, doesn't really do me much good on needing pictures of him to put on my website. But I created this, and you'll get one of these too whenever this episode airs. So I'll show you this, like, whenever we get done with the podcast, I'll show you what it looks like. But literally, I created this whole page section on my website for my podcast to where I can basically self-host my podcast on my website. So, I mean, you can still listen to it everywhere. You know, like Spotify, Apple, Google, whatever. It doesn't matter. You just listen to it there. Or you can watch it on, like, YouTube, Facebook, DTube, whatever. But you can also go and watch the video or listen to the audio directly on my website because if you go to michaelbisbell.com/podcast, it'll bring you to the Wednesday Wanderer website, which is now hosted there at michaelbisbell.com/podcast.
Okay.
And I'm working on... Right now, I have to, like, it's the holidays, so it's like I have to save for a couple... It'll probably be on the 5th, like January 5th, whenever I get paid again, for the new month, you know, like the first of the month paycheck and everything. It'll probably be January 5th or so whenever I end up doing it. But I want to get all the domains for the podcast, like WednesdayWanderer.com, like TWW Podcast, blah, blah, blah. Like, I have a list of them that are available that I found and I'm trying to get. And so my goal is I'm going to buy all of those domain variants, send them to this web domain, so it'll be michaelbisbell.com/podcast.
Right.
But then if you type in anything WednesdayWanderer.com, whatever, it goes to that one. Yeah. So I can just keep it on michaelbisbell.com, manage my website, not have like a million subsection splinter websites that I have to update and worry about.
Yeah.
It's just my website, but all the domains forward it to that traffic. Yeah.
Smart. Yeah.
But I created... based on the blog page that I created for my website a long time ago, which is like this cool design where you have like a big header and then you have like this floating, it almost looks like a floating piece of parchment kind of like floating on the website, you know? And it's hard to explain. Like you just have to, I'll show you and it'll make more sense of what I'm talking about. But like it's hard to explain just by talking about it. But it's like floating basically. And it has like the video on it. It has photos of the person, like the text thing pulled from the video about like the bio of like what it is and everything. So it's like literally every single guest that's on my show gets their own page. So like every person that's been on my show so far that the episode's published, they have a page on my website. So it's like, for example, the first guest, Jace Galloway, michaelbisbell.com/Jace-Galloway.
Smart.
And so he's got his own thing on my website. And so for people that don't even have a website, they can just use that link and send people to that and use it as a branding thing for themselves. Like, oh yeah, go to this thing. There's a video and a podcast, so you can watch it or listen to it, or you can read the script if you don't have time to do either of those. You see all the
like
socials.
An advanced case study. That's kind of dope. Like being able to show. Yeah,
and people can comment and engage right on the page too.
Yeah.
So with Facebook, Discord, like there's a bunch of different like options where you can log in. But because it's WordPress, I don't use Squarespace or any of that stuff.
Right.
Like no, nothing to Squarespace. They're a cool platform. I try to use them, but for me, I need I need control over
Yeah.
mine, so I need like the code and like the basic, like I need everything.
Yeah.
I've been doing web design since I was 13, so it's like
Okay.
I'm too limited by the
Yeah.
like it's
the
nice
templates,
for
yeah.
general websites. Don't get me wrong, like
Right.
they're awesome as a company, but yeah, it's just not my thing. Not for me. I prefer WordPress because I can do everything manually from scratch.
Nice.
And that's how I build on my websites. Usually I draw it on a piece of paper and then I go figure it out.
Okay.
Like, so it's like if I can draw it on a piece of paper and I can literally look at it on the screen next to, on the paper next to the screen, even if I have no idea how to possibly make that possible on the computer, I can figure it out. Because it's like, if I can see it, then I can make it happen.
You can make it happen, yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. I like it. That's how I am with websites. I love it. But I wish I was that way with graphic design. Because I'm not going to lie, I'm low-key a little bit jealous of, like, the people that have, like, this insane art, graphic design ability where they can draw and, like, make these cool designs and stuff. Like, I can do that to some degree. Like, I designed all of my logos and everything by myself. So, like, my MBI logo where it's, I don't know if you noticed that, but it's literally an M. And then the line across makes a B across the top.
I saw that,
and then the line across the dash, like that makes the little thing on the M, is the I. So it's MBI, Michael B. Isbell. And then I use that to create all my other logos. So like my username for gaming, like when I play video games and stuff, is Zayden. So I turned it to the side and the M becomes a Z. So that's my my gaming logo because I stream whenever I play games and stuff. And then turned it completely upside down. It becomes a W. The name of this show is The Wednesday Wanderer.
That's cool.
So it's like it perfectly matches.
You got it all
like,
thought out, man.
and it's all under my branding because it's all the same logo, just rotated and positioned and like framed differently. So it's like I don't know. I the way that I've been trying and what I tell other people to do as far as like other brands and stuff is to build yourself out as a network.
Yeah.
Because when you build yourself out as a network, it lets basically like it lets you do anything, because like if you're Showtime, you can have whatever show you want on there.
Right.
Like you might have like, or maybe it's HBO that has Game of Thrones. I don't know. You might have like Game of Thrones followed by like House of Cards, or whatever. They're like completely nothing to do with each other, right?
Yeah.
But they're both on the same network.
Yeah.
They have that common thread, that slight little tiny thing that makes them enough of the same where they can like be under the same umbrella. That's how you should build your brand, because when you do it that way, you can pivot in any direction.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So like what are some of the coolest brands that you've worked with? Because I'm a little bit curious for like how like exactly like what you mean when you say you mentor people. Like do you mean like you're more of a consultant or?
It's weird because I'm in that weird space of consultant, but I don't like saying consultant. So I genuinely, so here's how I work. I've been working with a brand. I'm actually wearing their shirt, Tis
Nice.
One. And he started actually doing t-shirts a few months back. He's an artist. He does oil paintings, really cool stuff. And we kind of connected together on Instagram, like, hey, I want to help out, where are you going with this? And he's been in a couple markets in LA, actually started selling a lot of his product, and so he's actually ramping up, making some cool connections. Some of the advice I gave him was to limit how much he sends out, so far as, sending out different products to, people, rappers, artists, influencers, that type of thing, and kind of narrow it down to who he actually wants to work with.
Yeah.
Like really laser focus on that. Also gave him some advice on his website so far as, the UI, UX, just how it looks when customers go there, how it's gonna, look for them, their ability to check out. Actually gave him advice on putting his paintings on the website. Like, this is where you started. You're an artist. It's like people should see, some of the other things besides the apparel. And, he did that. And so it kind of just started off like, hey, I can help you out with this. Just a few things that I'm noticing, just for a month. And it's been past a month, and we still talk. We're still cool, and I'm always looking for different avenues that he can go down, different collaborations, connections he can make. So like you said, it's kind of weird. I'm in a weird space because I get approached by other companies who are like, hey, we've got a group of, a new group of people that we think you could help kind of get up to speed with what we want to do. And I'm like, yeah, that's technically mentoring, but it's like it's part of a company.
Yeah.
And it's like I don't want to like mentor your department.
Right.
So I'm still figuring it all out, man. I really am. It's like, you know, I do charge for my mentorships when it goes past a certain level, depending on your budget.
Right.
So, I mean, I've said like 10 times, like, hey, for this, what you want me to do, $100 would be a slap in the face, and $1,000 is too much.
Yeah.
I'll let you figure that out. So, yeah, it's hard because I went from, dang, let me put price lists on my website.
Yeah.
And see if people will come, you know, and it's like, dang,
I wish there was a feature for freaking doing that. I talked about this to like 3 people on the podcast now. And if I was a developer and I knew how to like do that kind of stuff, I totally would have already made this and made a bunch of money off of it already. But like, I need there to be some kind of tool in Shopify or something like that with like my digital product store and everything like that to be able to give people, because what I would rather do rather than the code option that we talked about earlier where like you put it into the end of the video and everything, is I would rather have it be free but you can pay what you feel it's worth.
There is photographers use I have to find the site, but they use a platform where it allows you to kind of set a minimum, but they can pay as much as you want, as they
But it
want.
would be cool, like, if for certain things, like, if you could literally make it, like, you can make it free or up to this much, because this is how much I feel it's worth. You know, like you said, like a slap in the face, like, and then this would be too much. So, like, you can literally go on there and put that on your website and be like, this is a slap in the face, this is too much. How much is...
Right, and almost like a little slider.
Exactly.
Boom. Yeah.
If you could do that with your digital products and stuff, I feel like it would be so much more successful.
Yeah.
With the way that I make content, a lot of other people make branded content and they spread their words in their vlogs and that kind of stuff. I feel like that would be a huge thing because, like, literally, like, you never know how much money someone has. One person can have like $1,000 if they're willing to throw your way because they just love what you do and they're plenty of money and they're just looking for people to throw it at.
Yeah.
And then the next person can be like, oh man, I really want to get that support this person, but I only have like $5.
Yeah, and that's why it's important to make the relationship. You know, I really put a lot into building the relationship and gaining the trust, you know, mutually, so I can kind of know the situation. You know, unfortunately, everybody that I've worked with Tis, I actually worked with another young lady, Maylang Jewels, who makes beautiful gold jewelry. Their situations were different, but it's like, hey, on one end, I don't have a lot. I'm just out of school. I've got this really cool niche, and I want to go with it. And the other was like, well, I've got a decent amount of money to put towards different things. Which avenue should I go first? Is it marketing? Is it branding? Is it advertising? Is it, you know, getting everything legit? Is it new materials? So, it's just about, I can't really say, well, $250 a month to do this. It's like, bro, I know the situation you're in. Here's, like I said, $1,000 or $100 a slap in the face, and $1,000 is too much, or whatever that is, and kind of let them, you know, set it, but you have to make that relationship first.
Yeah,
really
that's an interesting tactic for sure, like for a service-based industry. Because, like, for service, I definitely wouldn't do that. I'm completely the opposite with services. Like, with services, it's a set amount, and it's like, if you don't want to do the amount, that's fine.
Go somewhere else.
Yeah, it's like, that's totally cool. I'm like, this is what I valued my work at, and if you don't want that quality of work, then that's totally fine. You don't have to have it for your company. Like, that's cool with me. And it's not even in a hard feelings, harsh way. It's like, that's cool. Like, this is how much it's worth. And, like, if you want to pay more than that, I appreciate that. Thank you. This is how much it's worth. This is the value of what I'm doing.
That's
like,
true.
You know, I try not to take advantage of people. You know, it's like what we were saying earlier. Like, sure, I could charge, like, way more. You know, if it was a bigger company, I could get, like, $10,000 a month for the strategy I've created. No problem. I've done the research, so I know. Because I know what people are doing. And this is, like, Gary Vaynerchuk level. Like, he has a whole team of people that curate and optimize and do these content strategies. But I'm doing it myself. In a week. Turn around with, like, the ways that I figured out how these programs work together. So it's like, when you can take that and scale that, and it's like, that's very lucrative, but I'm not trying to take advantage of anybody either. Because I look at it from the perspective of, it's like, I know how much time it takes me. So, like, I'm not going to take something that barely takes me any time and then, like, charge someone all this money just because they can't do it. Like, to me, that feels like manipulation of the fact that I just, like, learned the information at the right time.
Right.
And it's like, that just doesn't seem right. Because if I do that to them, then here's what happens. Karma.
Yeah.
20 years from now, whenever I need something that I don't know how to do.
Right.
Who's to say that that person, because of the fact that that's the way the world works, because I made that decision to add to that contribution and make that another way the world works, like, or people are taking advantage of each other.
Yeah.
I don't want to. The way that I see it is, if I'm another person that does that, then that just increases the statistic of people that are taking advantage of each other. It's like, even if I'm the only one that's, like, thinking altruistically and being like, oh, I don't want to take advantage of people.
Right.
And even if I am the only one, I don't believe I am, but even if I was the only one, at least I feel, like, confident with where I am, like, with
That's
myself.
Good. Yeah.
Because it's like, I can't do something that I feel, like, morally bad about.
Yeah,
when it comes to, like, business stuff. It's like, there's a lot of people that don't care. It's like the second they put on the business cap, like, all strings off, man. It's not me. It's the company.
Yeah, they don't care about reviews or anything. They're like, hey, I got my money.
Yeah, they're like, I don't care. I clocked in. It's not me. It's the company.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it's like, we're all human beings. Like, when you call into customer support, and they treat you like shit, and they, like, act like you don't matter because they're like, whatever, we already got your money and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, those are human beings calling you on the phone. And on the flip side, when you call in screaming and acting a fool and, like, just being dumb, like, you're talking to a human being on the phone. Like, and you sound like a 5-year-old.
Yep.
Like, in any other scenario, it's like, just because you're paying someone money doesn't give you the option to, like, talk to them that way.
That's true, man. I mean, integrity and, you know, being a good person, it goes a long way. And, you know, I've had a couple of meetings recently where just, like, showing up early. Like,
like, you showed up early for the podcast, and I was like, oh, nice.
The guy that I had a meeting with at the Anaheim Packing District, he was like, I'm just tripping out that you're here. He's like, I've had X amount of people cancel on me.
Yeah.
And it's like, I called you, and you're like, oh, yeah, I'm waiting here by this space. You know, just come. I'll stay on the phone with you. Here I am. He's like, he hadn't had, it's been rare for him.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, that's just crazy. He's like, so that's good. And I've actually had the good fortune of running into people like that where it's like, you know, very cool, down to earth. I mean, in the past 4 months, I haven't ran into anybody that's, like, disingenuous or anything. I know it's coming, but I have said no a lot to people, so maybe that was the thing. But
honestly, I think that you might be onto something with that, because I think the same way. Like, for a little while, I was, like, on edge with every guest, like, right at the beginning, because I'm like, oh, what if I was wrong? Like, what if they're not really cool? Like, what if they suck? You know, it's like, every person's like clench up a little bit on the inside, because it's like, like, I don't want to make them look bad, but then, like, I'm super authentic and I don't hold back. So like, it's like, I worry that it's like I might get somebody that isn't a great person, and that'll be very clear, because it'll be like, I'm going to be like pulling all this information out, and it's going to be very, and then I'm just like, okay, I don't know what to do with this now. Like, I'm just gonna, so it's got to the, but honestly though, I think that it all comes down to intuition.
Yeah.
Like, when I talk to someone on the phone for 15 minutes and I get a feeling of, like, 5 of who they are, I can tell. Yeah. It's like, I can just tell. It's like, if they're not the right fit, it's not gonna, I can tell if it's not going to work out. And for the most part, most people have been pretty awesome, to be honest, because I'm a pretty agreeable person when it comes to, like, this type of thing, like interviews and stuff like that, because it's like, it's more so just perspectives, you know? It's like, the kind of people that I'm interested in having on the show, it's like, to me, the kind of people that I seek out, like, that engage and come, again, that respond to the message to begin with, most of those kind of people are the kind of people that are all about perspective. Because it's like, why you don't reach out to someone to be on their podcast in the first place unless you, like, understand that you could potentially be in the hot seat and be on the other side. Because for the other person, like, you're in someone else's environment. Like, it could be their home, could be their studio, could be some random office. Like, you don't know where you're gonna show up to, and then, like, so it's like on both ends, kind of this, like, you know, feeling of like, oh, like, I don't know.
It's, I mean, but it's an awesome it's an awesome journey just being able, just from me booking the podcast and, to be honest, this is the first time I've been on a podcast. So
really?
yeah.
Hey,
so,
welcome to the club. I love it.
This is cool. So
yeah,
I was excited about it, and I still am. And it's I felt that it's going to be a good thing, just to find out more about you. And then, especially be able to, share what I do with brands and just helping people.
Yeah.
That's the main thing I want to do is I never wanted to lose focus on helping others. I have a family. I have twin boys.
Oh,
it's like
nice.
They're always looking to me now like, daddy this, daddy that.
Yeah.
And who's this, because they see the brands and the people I work with, and they see when my phone rings, they're like, oh, it's such and such. I'm like, yeah. So that's kind of helped with building relationships too.
Yeah.
But just, I think it's coming down, like society, we're coming down to the point where it's going to be good people, and they're going to be in their collective bubbles, and everybody else on the outside is going to be on the outside. Yeah. And we're going to be able to function in these bubbles. Yeah. Where it's like, I'm good with their food, I'm good with his content, I'm good with what she does. Yeah. I use their car, they use my, it's going to be like that. Yeah. Just everything, fashion, food, all of that in one bubble, and good people. And eventually, hopefully, these bubbles can open up and actually get more people in, and we become a better society.
Honestly, I love the analogy of bubbles that you're using, because like what I honestly see happening is that as people like myself and you and other creators and other brands and everything continue to put out consistent content that is authentic and that isn't like this whole scripted, like right. Let's just say whatever the hell is on our write out and like give you your props and your shout outs at the right times and blah blah blah, like that's BS, It's like I want to have an actual conversation, and like talk about whatever the hell comes up, you know, because here's the thing, like with your kids and stuff, like what about their kids, right? Like the people that, I mean, who knows with science and everything, but you'll probably never see them on the face of this earth, more than likely, unless your kids just all have kids really early. Right, so like, go ahead and knock on some wood for you real quick. Yeah, man, like you never know, like you want to make sure that you build that legacy so that no matter who it is, when it is, where it is, they can actually understand the perspective of what you did that led to where they're at. Yeah. Because there's going to be this huge generation of people that want to know why the frick are we living on this planet that is hot as hell and all this bad stuff's happening. Yeah. And they're going to be like, why were you guys so egocentric that you couldn't think about like the next 10 years and just slow down? Like literally no one asked you to stop doing anything. Right. They literally just asked you to slow down and take into account that there's a lot of us on this planet now, and we got to figure some shit out. It's like, and I'm not even going to get into that whole climate change thing, but like, for real though, like at the end of the day, there's a whole legacy of people that want to understand where they came from. Yeah. And like, I look to places like in our history, I feel so disconnected from like the 20s, the 30s, the 40s. Like I feel a little bit more connected to like the 70s and the 80s and 90s because of the music. So it's like with the music specifically, I feel like I have a bit of a connection where like I can kind of understand the mindset and the feeling and the emotion of what was going on at the time. But in general, even with TV, because I've been making movies and stuff for TV for a long time, like up until like, I don't know, like the internet, really, honestly, like up until the internet, like things aren't really ever preserved. It's just like, it's just like this moment and then it's gone and who knows what happened. It's just people's stories and what they remember. And again, and again, our memories change. Yeah. So like, I'm really curious what the sentiment of like, I'll go on both sides of the scale drastically, but like, let's say like someone like Hitler. Like, that doesn't just happen. A human being doesn't just wake up one day and be like, I'm a normal being, I draw paintings, and I do this. And then the next day they're like, you know what? I want to kill like 500 million people. That sounds like a good Tuesday. No, that doesn't, that's not how life works. No. Like, something happened, and like something was cultivated. There was a mindset there that was like cultivated over years. Like, some shit happened. Like, and I would love to understand from that perspective, like, can you imagine if Hitler made vlogs?
Oh my God.
Like, that sounds bad and crazy, but, like, do you know how awesome it would be for history's sake to be able to go back and be like, it would literally be like what makes a murderer?
Yeah.
Where you can literally look and, like, psychoanalyze these traits and features so people can be safer out in the real world because you understand, like, oh, these are the traits.
Yeah.
And when you see those things in people, you're like, oh, shit, I should, like, keep my distance.
That's true.
Like, you learn what to know. Like, because if you don't know, then how that, like, you can't protect yourself. If it's like somebody's just doing their thing and you're oblivious and you're just like, everybody's happy, nothing bad happens.
Yeah, that's true.
Then they're just gonna, like, come right behind you and take advantage of the fact that you're oblivious.
Yep. So be sure to write that down. If Hitler made vlogs.
Yeah.
So that's a title for something.
If Hitler made vlogs, yeah. But, like, seriously though, like,
yeah.
I'm being serious. You know, everyone like that, like, these terrible, like big things have been terrible for, like, the mass positive, you know, growth of human culture and that civilization mindset. Like, I would love to know what made that possible. Like, how did he convince all these people? Who was on his team? What was his network? Like, what stories did he tell people? Were they the same? If there was the internet back then, would he be like Trump, where we find out on Twitter, and, like, not to dive into the whole Trump thing, but, like, literally just, like, would he be like Trump, where we see on Twitter his conversations, where it's like he has one conversation with one person, then walks into another room, and then 180 degrees has a completely different conversation saying the opposite thing to another person?
Yeah.
Like, with Twitter, we see that. Yeah. And so it doesn't escalate to Hitler. And that's what I'm saying. Like, the internet changed everything. Yeah. Because literally, it's like, I mean, it wouldn't even be possible for Hitler to become Hitler, because you would know about it before those steps ever became to a point where it was ever even a fear.
Yeah.
So, like, that's why the internet is such an impactful thing, because it builds this legacy and it documents things. Like, the Library of Alexandria was burned down and we lost everything. All the stuff that the Romans had gone and taken from all of those people and gathered from all of that time in history and put into that one physical location. When it got burned down, we don't know what the hell happened. All we have is people's memories from the stories that were passed down. They wrote it back down again. Yep. And hopefully they wrote it down right. Yeah. And that's what we base our entire philosophy on. Yeah. Everything in our world is based around, like, big religions, for example, like modern sciences, like different studies and things, like philosophies, like books and stuff, like Nostradamus, like, was a big thing for a while, like that kind of stuff, like Socrates, like, you know, people from that era and that type of thing. And you read their stuff, and it's like we're only getting partial things of what it was, because most of their stuff got destroyed. Right. Like, I don't think people understand how set back that made us. Yeah. Especially when you're talking technology. Yeah. Because, like, setting us back 200 years in Egyptian times, if you just think about that, like, what that equivalates to now. Because 200 years earlier to Egyptian times, and then, so, like, if Egyptian times were like Roman times, and then Roman times were like castle times were more like the mid-20s, and the mid-20s was like now, what would now be like? Yeah. Like, it all scales up, you know, because it's like things grow at an exponential rate because there's more people and there's more higher technology. So, like, when you're multiplying person times person and technology times technology, the more intricate the technology becomes and the more people that there are, the bigger the number of population and the more intricate the technology, because you start to multiply these really intricate and combine these, like, things that nobody would have thought to combine, because before individually they didn't exist.
Right. So how fragile do you think it is now with everything being digital or moving towards digital? Whereas
I think it's a lot more secure because everything's there. Nothing is ever deleted from the internet. Everything is there. It's all in the zeros and ones. Like, literally everything. Even if you have deleted it, there is the file there where it shows where it's been deleted. Like, you can recover it. It's hard, and if you've really gone out of your way to really wipe your, you know, memories and do all that kind of stuff, it is difficult, but it's possible still to recover. So digital data is, once it's online, especially once it's on the internet, like, it's there forever. Because even if you take it off of the internet, the points where it went into the internet and off of the internet still exist. Yeah. And the file itself still exists in those 2 points. So it's like all someone has to do is know how to extract it from from that transfer station. It's like it's really not that hard,
Yeah.
especially in 2018. Like there's programs where literally you can just like type in a database, be like, do, and then like it spits out what you want it to do. Because like people don't even want to do the code anymore. They've just trained programs to do it for them.
Yeah. Would you be concerned if the internet goes down? Like, what do we do from that standpoint?
I think if the internet goes down, that would suck, but I don't think that would be forever. If it went down, it'd probably be like a little bit of time. And even if it did, like, what do? You just keep living, you know? I mean, like, what can you do at that point? Like, if the internet goes down, then, like, nobody would have any connection to anything. Like, we wouldn't know anything that was going on. So, like, honestly, like, if the internet I mean, there's no way to kill the internet, though. That's the thing. Like, how does the internet go down? Do you, like, in order for the internet to 100% go down, you'd have to take down, like, over 200 satellites. You'd have to bomb, like, over 300 to 500 different locations strategically placed all over the globe that create a networking web of, like, how information, like, bounces off in the databases and stuff. You would have to somehow be able to get into every private server that someone's created on their own back room, like, hacker basement floor or whatever. And you'd have to be able to destroy every single one of those all over the planet at the exact same time. Because if just one of them survived, then it could reboot all the other ones by recreating it from what they have left.
So it'd be super difficult. Yeah.
So it's like, literally, it's impossible. You can delete some of the data that's on the internet, but, like, the internet itself is literally just networks. And, like, I mean, just you could reconnect it. You know, it's like, worst case scenario, we're thrown back, like, maybe 100 years because our satellite, like I said, maybe a meteor hits us and, like, some of our stuff happens and, like, internet goes out and everything like that.
Got it.
Like, what, worst case scenario takes us 100 years to get everything built again?
Right.
I mean, in 1920, we didn't have phones.
Yeah.
So who cares? You know, it's like,
true,
it's like we could just make them again or make something like phones. You know, it's like, who knows? There can always be some other kind of, like, technology or, like, communication that we don't even understand or have any way of tapping into. That, like, I don't think that we'll be using anything like cell phones by the time, like, by the time I'm, like, 40 to 50. I'm very, very firmly belief in the fact that what we're using will be indistinct. Like, I won't even be able to, like, tell the difference between. I'll look at a cell phone and be like, whoa, I used to hold that thing in my hand and, like, that was my life. What? It's just like, it's gonna be so different.
Yeah.
You know? And we know that because, like, let's look at the last 10 years. What's changed in the last 10 years?
Yeah.
Well, 10 years ago, I was using Samsung Captivate.
Mm-hmm.
That was my cell phone. And now my cell phone records 4K 60 frames per second footage that I can professionally put on a podcast with my cell phone.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy.
10 years. That's what happened. 10 years. Like, I'm about to get this $350 camera called the DJI Osmo Pocket. And this is not sponsored by them, by the way.
Okay.
But it's really cool. It's like, it's kind of like a GoPro. It's what it's comparable to, because a GoPro is like $400, so it's like in that comparable range. It's literally this big. It's like the size of my hand. You literally hold this thing around. It records in 4K. It has like 60 frames per second, so you can do the slow motion 4K. It has like SD card slots. It has like attachments where it can be waterproof and you're record underwater. And because it's the DJI, the stabilizer, it's literally like you can move it and like do all this, and it's completely buttery smooth, stable footage no matter what you do.
Just 350?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm getting it. I'm gonna start vlogging like almost daily.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited about that because I've been wanting to have a good, like, take around everyday camera. I've been looking for that so that I can start vlogging more frequently for my Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday shows. And this camera's going to make it possible. I'm super excited about it because you can get a selfie stick on it and then just hold it out and then you're perfectly stable. It's literally stable. So even if you're shaking with the stick thing, there's no shake in the video because it's stabilized.
That's dope.
Yeah, and it has like facial tracking and everything too, so you could put like track my face, and then like that's what I'm gonna use it for. Is I'm gonna put track my face and then just doot doot, and then it just follows my face, and no matter where I go, no matter what I do, it's gonna stay on my face the whole time. It's like having a film. It's like having a crew, but like you're out about by yourself. I'll literally just set it on a tripod and tell it to follow my face. I'll be standing there like talking to the camera, doing my video by myself. And it's just following me. Like, I can jump in and off screen, like, do whatever. Like,
Yeah, you're gonna have no need for a crew, man, at
Yeah.
all. That's
I'm
tight.
excited about getting
Yeah.
that camera. I'm not gonna lie,
Heck
like,
yeah, man.
I'm super stoked about it. Like, I do want the GoPro, the new GoPro that just came out, which has really good improved stabilization. Because usually GoPro footage is like really shaky and everything,
Right.
but they came out with a new stabilization feature, like a new it digitally stabilizes it. Basically, I don't know exactly how it works, but the AI basically somehow stabilizes the footage, and it works really, really, really well. Like surprisingly well. Especially for GoPro, like it's really top notch.
Yeah.
But for me personally, I think that the Osmo Pocket is probably a better bet. It's a little bit cheaper, which isn't really that big of a deal because I'm gonna have to buy attachments like the audio and stuff anyways. So like technically it's more expensive for me because of my quality of what I want out of it thing. But the GoPro's cool. Like I'll probably get one eventually just for like underwater stuff because I don't know how I feel about taking the good one like that. If it's gonna be my daily camera, like I don't want to. I don't know. I feel like I'd be worried about that. You know?
Yeah, nah.
Even if I technically can, I'm like, do I want to though? Like,
that's get a couple of them just in case.
Yeah, I mean 350, man. Like that's prospectively that's pretty cheap for a camera. Like that's DSLR quality, like better than some DSLR qualities. Because there's no like limit, I don't think, like time limits. You can like record as long as you have room on your SD card. Wow. If I'm not mistaken, like that. I hope that's the case. But,
that worked.
But like, dude, it's freaking the shit. Like
that's tight.
I'm excited about it. I'm not gonna lie. Like it's about to change my content game. Like and it's so compact. It's literally like it's tinier than my phone.
Dang, yeah. Get on that, man. Yeah, this is good, man. I like what you do. It's funny because it took a long time for me to kind of say, you know what, let me put myself out there a little more.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, I had like some photo shoots and everything. I'm like, I don't feel good about this. They say I need to have some photos out there. So I got my stuff out. And I'm trying to build more of a network. I've been approached by a lot of different companies, and I just really want to focus a lot on the small business and those that don't have a lot.
Yeah. That's what our agency does, is small business marketing,
Yeah, just see where it goes because there's so many good ideas out there. I actually helped a couple brands start their Kickstarters, and, you know, it's went well, but there's a lot of hand-holding sometimes that needs to be done, you know, for some businesses.
That's true.
It's just, a lot of times it's confidence.
That's true.
This is nice. Oh, you've got this. You've done this far. You're in this many places already. So what do you need from me? And it's like
that's very true. With my company, like honestly, like the only aggravations that I get with them, and sorry if you're listening, this is not too bad, but like literally the only aggravations I get with them are like when they trust me and they just give me the reins and they're like, here, take it, like just make it happen. It always is successful. Because like I do the work to make sure that I cross every single line because it's like that's just how I am. You know, it's like if it's gonna have my name on it, then it's gonna be perfect, or at least perfect to my ability to what I can produce. But when it gets to the point where I have to have like every little thing approved and like and like every little thing like have a meeting for this and a meeting for that, like oh my god, dude, the communication barrier drives me freaking crazy. Like. That is the only thing is like the communication, and it's not anyone's fault because it's literally just a matter of like sometimes I work remote, I'm not in the office, like then sometimes they're not in the office, and then things randomly come up, and it's just like whenever something is contingent on a meeting, it's just like I hate it. I hate it so bad. Like I would just rather just like have the thing just done. It's like let's just get it done and get it over with. And then we'll figure out everything after. Like that's how I am. I'm like, let's just do it. Let's just take action. Yeah. And then after all the pieces are up in the air, then we'll figure out where are these pieces gonna land. Like let's do this.
I'm the same way. I'm like, if I can get it done right now, after meeting, during a meeting, before, I'll get it done. Like boom. Yeah. And then I live from my calendar.
Well, something is better than nothing. Yeah. Because let's say you make improvements and you change everything. Like, sure, you have to take the time to go in and change everything and do all that stuff. But up until the point where you made that decision, if you waited until you were perfectly happy with everything, then you'd be 3 months where you had nothing. Yep. And you'd be behind. Yeah. And instead, you've had consistent content going out that entire time. Yeah. And it's like, that's a very important thing. Like, people undervalue consistency. That's almost all it takes to grow on social media.
Yeah.
Literally. It's consistency and authenticity. Like, you figure out who you are and you share that message. You will eventually you will attract people that are like you, that believe in that same message, because people want to have a team. And as sports teams start to decline and like people actually being able to watch sports, there's not wars going on. I mean, sure, there are wars going on, but not like, you know what I mean? Like, there's not like a war, like where people are like, oh, the Vietnam War. Like, it's like this long thing. It's like, I think technically still going on, and we're all like, what's happening?
Right.
Like, it's like, from my perspective, it doesn't feel, I don't think there's a war going on, but there technically is on paper, I think.
Right.
But that's what I meant to say. And so it's like, I don't know, man. There's just like, globally, like, perspectives are weird. You know, it's like when you think of things on a global level, I think it changes the whole game. Like, you got to realize that people are people, you know? It's like those engagement numbers, those clicks, those ticks, those likes, like, every single one of those things is a person.
Right.
Looking at, like, taking time out of their day. Like, just like I take time out of my day, like, you take time out of your day, like, those are all people.
Right.
And I think it's kind of cool when you really, like, build your brand and understand that connection. Because if you don't understand that we're all people, then, like, what are you doing this for?
Yeah.
You know?
And I think we're starting to come out of that mindset. A lot of people where it was just like a numbers game. Like, I'm going to get this many posts out and say this and get a cool picture, and that's it. But now it's changed. You know, it's like, no, what are you saying? There are actually people watching, looking, and guess what? If you have 2 in a row, then that might be somebody's like, I'm going to follow this person because they've got some cool stuff to say, and they feel what I feel, and they think like I think. And it's boiling down to that. Like, go back to bubbles. It's like, this is my tribe on social media, and I talk to them, and I've got my thing over here, and it's about just like feeling good, this feel good bubble of everybody.
Well, people are tribal.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
on a DNA, like, instinctual level, we deal with tribalism all the time. And like I was saying, because we don't have sports teams really to follow, because, like, you know, all these people start getting concussions, we figure out the health benefits, and then people are like, oh, I don't really want to support this thing. And then you have, like, the whole, like, flag thing and, like, the taking a knee thing. And, like, I feel like all of that stuff, like, there are still sports fanatics, obviously. I feel like a lot of that for the general public kind of made sports be like this weird, like, it's not really worth all that for me. Like, you guys can have that, you know?
I agree. You know, I have my team, like my NFL team and everything. I like the Vikings and everything, but it's like I follow them. But it's like a lot of that, you know, with the take a knee, it made an impact.
It made it something else, and it's like,
and you look at the whole thing like, this is entertainment.
Yeah.
I don't really have to subscribe.
Yeah.
You know, but it's just tough. People want to see what they want to see, and if it doesn't fit what they're feeling or what they want to see, then they're going somewhere else. Exactly. It's easier to do that now.
Well, where I was going with that is you followed teams back in the day, and that was the thing. Like, everyone followed sports. Like, especially for me, growing up in, like, the South, like, everyone followed sports, kind of a thing. People are tribal. They have to follow their team. And so here's the thing. Now the teams are not the Raiders or the Patriots or the whatevers. Like, the teams are Team Casey Neistat and Team Peter McKinnon and Team, you know, blah blah blah, and David Dobrik and Shane Dawson. Like, I'm not gonna start naming names because, like, there's too many good people. Like, there's all these great, amazing, inspiring creators and leaders and industry holders that, like, those are the teams. Those are the teams you want. Like, have you seen the stuff that people have been doing for PewDiePie?
No.
Bro, somebody spent $1 million to buy out an ad on Times Square so that an entire, like, building in Times Square was, like, subscribed to PewDiePie.
Yeah.
Because right now he has, like, literally 1% of the world's population subscribed to him.
That's crazy.
The most subscribers ever, and he's, like, held it forever. But there's this K-pop people, like, group or something like it. Or it's not K-pop, it's, like, an Indian music company or something. I looked into it. I wasn't really sure what it is. It's called T-Series.
Okay.
And they're, like, coming up on them, like, about to beat them, because obviously they're, like, a media company. He's a dude in his bedroom. Yeah. So they're, like, growing at, like, 125,000 subscribers a day. He grows at, like, 30,000. Wow. But, like, perspectively, I mean, he's a dude in his bedroom. Like, they're, like, I mean, like, you're neck and neck, you know, like with this like major company, and like that's pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, people were like all going crazy for it, man. Like bought like a $1 million ad in Times Square to do the whole subscribe to PewDiePie, because like people like that's their team. Yeah. So there was someone willing to spend $1 million in a video for PewDiePie, not for himself, for PewDiePie. Because he's making enough money from his content where he could just throw $1 million on a billboard to like, that's his team. That was him being like, go Patriots. Like that was his version of that, was go PewDiePie, like go subscribe to PewDiePie. We want him to break that milestone because his success is my success because I'm part of Team PewDiePie, right? So that's the mentality. Like it's all tribalism. That's it. And when you understand that, it's so easy to reverse engineer it and to make the brand do what you need it to do without manipulating people. Yeah. Because like when you think of things as this big tribe, like literally, how would you do this for your family? Yeah. Like what hookups would you give them? What secret insider tips would you tell them? Like what discounts would you show them along the way? Like think about that. Like what if this was your family member signed up for it? And then think how can I scale that? Right. And so like how can I make that scalable? And then you will have an unstoppable brand. Yeah. Because literally anything you do, people are going to be like, that's Team Michael. Yeah. I want to do what Team Michael does. And if that happens to be, for right now, doing a podcast, then they listen to the podcast. If that changes and I put out an album later, which I will eventually put out an album, I've written enough songs. I mean, I have notebooks on notebooks on notebooks of songs from being a kid and doing the music and stuff. So it's like, when I put that out, I'm hoping that gets receptible. And I actually have like a whole rap thing that I'm doing where I go under a completely different name. Nice. And it's like, that's not even connected. That's the one thing I have that's not connected to anything else. Okay. Because everything I do, like we talked about earlier, is connected like a network. Right. You know, I have the podcast, the gaming channel, I have my own media company. Like everything is me. It's all Michael B. Isbell Media. It's all connected and like intertwined with each other, right? Yeah. But I do the rap stuff actually, like separate. So it's like I don't even show my face. That's good. At all. Yeah, it's just literally pictures. That's like dope. A picture, and then I just like put it out, and that's it. Yeah. Because like I don't want any conceptions. I don't want people to know what I look like with it. I don't know if people like know what I'm doing, where I'm coming from. That's literally exciting. Just listen to this song and tell me what you think. That's man. It. So like I've been working with that recently, and that's been really fun too. I'm not gonna lie. Like, hey, be prepared for something like that to blow up. Yeah, right. Like who knows? That's what I know, dude. I totally know. Like that's how my life works. Yeah. Is I'll try to do some side project, and I'm like, oh yeah, like that's how this podcast started. So this is a funny story actually. In August, that's when I launched my media company, like officially, and. Well, not officially. As an LLC officially, I launched it like a couple months after that. Yeah. But when I say officially, like, and I made the decision, like, I'm doing this kind of thing. And so I launched the media company officially in August. And the plan was to make 3 videos a week. Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, right? But my camera did not work ever. Like, I had to re-record the same video 5 times in a row until I eventually was just like, screw it, I'm done. Like, I don't want to do this anymore kind of a thing. And so basically like because of the technological difficulties that I was having and not being able to like sync everything up and make everything work, because basically the app hadn't been updated yet that I'm using on my phone to do this. And so when I would record, the audio and the video would always get out of sync, and it was impossible to sync back up because it had something called a variable frame rates per second issue. Okay. So instead of locking at 24 frame rates per second, which is what it's supposed to be, you know, like 24 FPS, it would be varying between 23.8 and 23.9. Okay. Which is small, but constantly going up and down. Yeah. Like, I mean, I would have spent hours and hours and hours just sitting there, like, linking up the audio to the video, audio to the video, like, to make it perfect. And then every couple of seconds, it'll go off again and be out of sync again. Yeah. So it's like, that's not scalable. You can't do that every single freaking, like, 3 times a week. That's not possible. Like, I can't. It's not possible. So yeah, that fell off, and I wasn't able to make those videos. And so I wanted to still make content though, so I started being like, what can I do? You know, like I started doing my research, like figuring out, and I was like, I mean, I've got a microphone, so I guess I could start doing podcasts. There you go. And so I got on the apps, and I started, making those connections. I found out about Calendly, and I set up that whole Google Calendar thing where I could like do the live links and stuff. So then I just got really diligent about if I have anything I want to film, if I'm going somewhere, if I'm doing a project or whatever, I put that in on the Calendly thing so that it goes away as an option. And so it's always a live possible calendar. And once I figured that out, I was like, all right, cool, I can do this podcast thing. Yeah. And so I started doing the podcast, and like it's evolved and evolved and evolved. And now finally the app works again. And so I can start using my phone. And now I have a whole studio in there too. In the other office, the extra bedroom, and so like with the app working, like everything's good to go. I can start putting out those videos, and I'm gonna be getting the Pocket soon, which completely eradicates all of the issues because that's a completely standalone camera, and it's this little tiny compact thing that eliminates all of my issues I was having. So I'm super excited about it.
That changes the game, man.
Exactly.
That's good.
So because when you could do it with the issues, and then all of a sudden everything's easy.
Right.
That's whenever you can really run. It's like Dragon Ball Z. Did you watch that?
I used to watch it big time.
Okay, so going hardcore nerd reference here, right? So like you remember whenever Goku would wear the weighted gear?
Yeah.
And like so he would train and like go to the place.
Capsule, right?
Yeah, he would go to the planet where it was like the gravity was like super strong, but then he also wore the outfit that was like 50-pound shirt, 50-pound gloves, like those kind of things, like 60-pound boots, like. And so he had like all of this extra weight holding him down in addition to the gravity holding him down more than the earth holds him down. So it's like it was like really hard for him to even stand up. Yeah. And he's like doing all the fighting, training, and going fast and stuff like that, right? So it's kind of like that. Whenever you're in that mode, you're in your training mode, when you're starting and it's difficult, you're like Goku going through the motions and doing the fighting in spite of the resistance, right? And then later on, what happens is you get transported to Earth. Oh yeah. And they boom. Now you're in normal clothes. Now you're in normal clothes, and like now you're just like not even comparable. Like where at one point you were moving like like you're able to like 1 second fist. Now you're like doing 100 punches a second because you're like like that's why that happens because like you fight against that resistance, and then when the resistance is gone, you just explode.
That's right.
Until you hit the next resistance cap. Yeah. And that's how it works. Yeah. And there are seasons of resistance. When you find that resistance point, you just drill through it, and then you explode, and you captivate on that explosion. And it's kind of funny that we got to this, because my whole point of everything that I've been saying this whole time since we started the bubble conversation has been that I see it that the way content is working right now is, yes, we have our bubbles and people are segregated in those bubbles, but I think bubbles of mindset. But I do believe that if people continue to put out content and to share their message and to share their vision and the positivity and the things that connect us and not that separate us, eventually those bubbles will pop. Yeah. Because there'll be so much water of information inside of them that they just pop. Yeah. And once all of the bubbles pop, everybody's in the same level playing field, and that's what I see happening.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that the internet is the great leveler. It's the great transparency maker, because essentially, if every secret is public and there's nothing that anyone can do better than anyone else technically, because even if you can do it better than me right now, I can learn, look at what you're doing wrong, and then get better than you. So it's like everything you do is public, which means I can always get better. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like there's not a way to hide it. Even if you're not publishing content. Here's a sad truth, actually. I heard a comedy sketch about this the other day, and I don't remember who did it, so I'm really sorry to the comedian for throwing your joke in here without shouting you out. But somebody said social media is like hemorrhoids. Like, you may not have it, but that doesn't mean it doesn't affect you. Right. Like, it's like you don't, or not hemorrhoids. What is it? Like an STD.
Right.
Like,
right.
It's like social media is like an STD. Like, just because you don't have it doesn't mean it doesn't affect you.
That's true. Yeah.
Like everybody is gonna be putting content out about you. Yeah. And if you're not on social media to have a say in it and to put your flag down, then what everybody else says and their perspective is what your business is. Yeah. Or you don't exist, one of the two. Right, yeah. And neither one of those is good. Because, like, in one hand, it's completely out of your hands, and it's in the words of someone that has no connection to your company or your success or failure at all. Yeah. And then in the other hand, no one even knows you exist, and you just fall off the map once physical marketing dies off. Yeah. Like, that sucks.
sucks big time.
Yeah,
But there's so many companies that just aren't even engaged in social media. There's some starting to trickle in.
Exactly.
But it's like there's some that have no campaigns.
It's still over 50%.
That's crazy.
I can't remember what the number is exactly, but it's well over 50% for sure. The number of like businesses that aren't on social media at all.
That's crazy. It's like what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like literally, like what do you do? Do you? I mean, some of the ones that are on social media, I guarantee you they're not doing any Google ads or anything like that. So it's like, really, what are you doing? Is it word of mouth?
Yeah, and eventually that dies.
Yeah.
Like, that's the problem. Because, like, yeah, word of mouth is cool until you have a generation of people that don't talk to anyone. Yeah. Like, their family, their friends, like, everything's on their phone.
Yep.
And, like, I don't know about you, but, like, for me, like, when I'm talking to my friends and stuff, if I talk about something to my friends and it's not something physically immediately there, the conversation's really short. It's like, hey, I just saw this thing, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, send me a link.
That's all it is, yeah.
Nobody wants to hear my interpretation. They want to read it.
Yeah.
They don't want to get my, like, possibly wrong information that I've misinterpreted and misremembered. Yeah. They're like, oh, yeah, send me a link. Let me look at that.
Right.
That's how the world works right now. And if you're not there and you don't have that information authentically there and authentically available, like, what? How are you going to exist? Like, you know, like, resistance is the thing that kills businesses.
Yeah.
Because, like, when your customers grow to the point where, like, eventually your demographic are going to be people that only use those devices.
Right.
Like, that's the cold, hard truth about it. Like, yes, maybe right now, you're, what is it right now? I think it actually went up. I think it's like 60 plus now, or maybe it's 70 plus. It's either 60 or 70 plus, but like the average age of people where you can expect like maybe they don't have a phone or maybe they don't do the internet stuff and like they're not really getting tech savvy. I think the age is bumped up to like 60 or 70 or something like that and older. It's like, okay, makes sense why you're not on the internet. But here's the thing is that number is constantly getting bumped up. People don't realize that because the senior citizens that are still around right now are also trying to live their lives. Yeah. And so they're sharing what they're doing in retirement. They're, you know, sharing what their travels and living their lives and doing the things that all these people want to do. Yeah. So, like, they're getting profiles and brands around the life that they've already built for themselves. Yep. And then on the flip side of that, 50 years from now, all the people that are my age, that are in their 20s, are going to be in their 70s. Yeah. And all of us are currently doing that shit. Yeah. So 50 years from now, obviously, we'll have an understanding of it because we're currently doing it. Right. So it's like, eventually, everyone will literally be online. Yeah. Because eventually, the demographic of people that are not online will not be here anymore. So it's like, people don't think about that. It's like, yeah, that's sad, and obviously you want to live in the moment and take advantage of what's here right now. But if you're not putting in the game plan for what's inevitable, like, that's just ignorant.
Yeah, it is, because it's where everybody's at. Mm-hmm. It's like you're just isolating yourself. Yeah. You know, I mean, I'm not saying that you have to post every day and really give thought out content, but it's like everybody's here. Your family's like, hey, I saw this funny thing. Mm-hmm. I'm uploading this from the trip. It's going to be in here. I'm sending it out, you know, starting a little chat. Yeah. It's like, if you're not involved in that, it's like, Nana's not involved. Yeah. Someone should go see her. Yeah. You know.
And then everyone feels bad about it, and it's like, and then how do they get information? Yeah. You know, it's like.
Yeah, that's crazy. And this happens so quick. Mm-hmm. This happens so quick. So I get why there are, you know, some in older generations that are like, what? Mm-hmm. Okay, Instagram. I'm just getting on the Facebooks. Yeah. You know,
but people think that it's a fad because it's moving so. But here's the thing: don't get it twisted. Just because it's moving quickly does not make it a fad. Right. That's not what a fad is. A fad is something that burns out quickly. Yeah. That's not what this is. The internet is the most powerful advertising platform that has ever existed. Right. You can get exactly to the person that you want to get to. Like, let's say you just wake up tomorrow morning and you create an ad and you're like, I want to target 10,000 white 25-year-old guys living in Orange County, California.
Yeah.
And then the next day you're like, I want to target 15,000 Native Americans living in, I don't think Native Americans live here in California, but you get the point. Like,
right.
you can literally target your message to a certain mindset. Mm-hmm. You can even go like, I want to target moms, so people that like women who have had a child, who like Apple products,
right?
And you can show a specific ad to women who have a child who like Apple products.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, what?
I know.
To promote an app.
That's insane.
Because like you can get that detailed and be like, yeah, you're a mom that uses Apple products, and this is an app on the Apple Store.
Right.
So here you go. This is how it applies to you. Like, that's how specific you can get.
Yeah, and I think very soon, it's already started, but I think we're going to see the dying of just big brands. We're already seeing
100%.
Retail,
100%.
I mean, the ones that don't adopt, it's just going to be like, you're irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
But
other than the first in mind ones.
Yeah.
The ones that don't have to do marketing anymore, like Nike, Coca-Cola, big brands where it's like everyone knows them.
Yeah.
It's like they don't really have anything to worry about because they can just make the switch.
Yeah.
And that is what's going to happen. That's what's going to be the indicator where like, oh shit, like watch Coca-Cola specifically, right? And this is what I would say to anyone: when Coca-Cola is spending over half of their budget on social media marketing instead of on commercials and TV, and you're not building a brand for yourself, like you need to like haul ass and do everything you can to, from that point, like you need to do everything, because within a year from that point, I guarantee you the prices of everything will double, triple, quadruple. Like, because what's going to happen is when the billions of dollars that are spent on television commercials that no one sees because nobody's watching TV, they're watching Netflix. Whenever all of that money stops being wasted and they're like, these people aren't watching this.
Right.
Maybe we should go to social media. That's where people actually are.
Then the price, you're right.
And then the price goes up, just like Google AdWords did.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's undeniable that it's going to happen. My theory, I think it's going to happen. I think 2020 is the big year.
Yeah.
For us. Not because it's a significant, like, it's the same number or anything like that, or being an even number, an election year, or anything like that. But, like, the only reason why I think 2020 is going to be a big deal is because from everything I've read, it looks like wearable technology is coming for sure.
Right.
It looks like multiple companies are coming out with glasses or smart glasses and other wearable technologies where you can literally, like, on your face have smart technology.
Yeah.
The evolution of that long term is that me and you are having this conversation right now, right? Let's say I ask you a question and you start talking, and then let's say I ask you, like, what are some of the altruistic, like, good things you've done? Like, what are you trying to do for the world or whatever? And you start telling me about this charity that you built, right? And then right next to it, I see, like, search results. Right next to your face.
Got it, yeah.
I can see search results about the charity. And then I see, actually, this charity is filtering money to some other thing. And this is actually just a way for you to call your nonprofit a way for you to put money in your pocket. And it's like, while you're sitting there talking to me, I'm like, oh, so you're actually a corrupt CEO taking advantage of people.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. It's like, and not even that extreme, but like just social profile sentiment. Like, whenever we meet for the first time, I'm talking to you on the phone, I can't see what you look like. Right. My smart glasses, though, can show me a quick picture, and then while you're on my phone, I see your picture and a quick bio of you literally right in front of my face. And it's like, you can literally be telling me some story weaving this stuff, and then I'm looking on your Twitter and seeing you calling some, like, one of your followers a faggot or something.
Right.
I'm like, you're not going to be in my show, dude. Like,
exactly.
It's like, good luck, Yeah.
And
and that'll be instant. I won't have to do background research and search for that shit. Like, it'll literally be in conversation. Like, hi, nice to meet you. My name's Michael.
Right.
Hi, nice to meet you. My name's whatever. And then boom, boom, I'm looking at your social profiles. Like, while we're having a conversation, like, something looks weird. There you go. There you know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's gonna change.
And if someone's not on it, I guarantee you they won't be they'll be shunned.
Oh yeah.
Because here's the thing. The level of safety that offers eliminates the fear of privacy issues with that.
Yeah.
Because, like, for example, what I see happening, and the reason why I think that this is guaranteed, like, not even a question or a debate, is the whole Me Too movement, right? So, like, if you look at the Me Too movement and you look at this whole like sentiment where on a wide growing scale people are like they want to protect themselves, and specifically women and kids and people who are like not able to physically protect themselves, kind of things and situations, people are bringing awareness to these things that happen, and like that's constantly being hashed up and every time it dies down it gets hashed back up and hashed back up and hashed back up. And I watch these things, I pay attention to these things. And so my theory is that because of that movement, basically people will be like shunned, for lack of a better term. Like if you remember like when you had the Scarlet A, like back in the old days, I feel like people will literally, not like, you know, you'll literally be shunned. Like if you go buy the things and like you get on it and you have a profile and you're there,
it's like people want to mess with you.
People won't care. You'll be a part of it. But as long as you choose not to be a part of it, I feel like people will literally shun you because of fear of what you may or may not be.
Right.
And so, like, I feel like that might be a big thing where, like, for example, with the people that can't protect themselves, if they look at you and you try to start a conversation with them and they can see, oh, this is a credible dude, like, he's got a podcast and stuff, he's not some weird creep trying to hit on me, then, like, they may have a conversation with you. Yeah. But if they look at you and they see no information available, they're going to turn around and walk the other way and be like, who the hell is this guy? Like, everybody's online. What the hell are you doing?
That's a good point.
And, like, that's where and that data is going to get aggregated by the information that's on social profiles. Yeah. Because everything is log in with Facebook, log in with Instagram, log in with Twitter. So you have to look at the connections of how things are made and how all the strings are kind of wired right now. So then you can kind of see the trajectory of, like, where it's going to go, you know? And, like, if you look at all of those moving pieces, that's where the trajectory leads, is a protection-based social media awareness where everyone sees everything that's going on at the same time. Yeah. And that's where things are going. And if you're not online, you're not on social media, you're not putting your information out there and building a brand and a legacy for yourself, then you're not going to exist. And whenever this does become a thing, you're left in the dust. And then you have to start from scratch in a world that is completely foreign to what it even is right now. Yeah. So it's like, what I do and what I believe is the best thing to do is right now, you're building out a legacy, you're building out your content, you're spreading your message in every single way, distribution platform that you can, and that you physically have the ability and the talent and the creation manpower to do, you know? Because at the end of the day, all you have is the potential for connection with someone else. Yeah. You know? So, I mean, that's honestly, like, what it all comes down to is, like, connecting with someone else and making that genuine interaction. Yeah.
But that's what it's always been. It's always been. Like you said, we're very tribal. We've always wanted to connect with somebody. And that's never going to end no matter how good technology gets. Yeah. It's going to circle back to, I want to connect with real people. Mm-hmm. And
I mean, how do you think that, like, Homo sapiens almost immediately became, like, the dominant race? Like, or not race, but species. Right. Like, because at one point there were 5 species of human beings on the planet. Five species of human beings. Like Homo sapiens, there was like what was there? There was like Homo erectus, there was the Neanderthals, there was like, you know, like all these different kinds of humans like living on the planet at the same time. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, boom, everything goes. I personally think that probably had something to do with psychedelic substances. Okay. I don't know, like, if you've heard about the I don't remember what the theory is called exactly, but the mushroom theory. I haven't. Basically, they're starting to theorize that early man, when they came down, like, from the trees and, like, you know, coming down, like, in the plains, like, you know, flipping over, like, dung and stuff, trying to, like, find food and everything to hunt and everything, that basically there would be mushrooms under the dung piles of these big animals that were left by. And whenever they ate them, they would have these psychedelic experiences that basically eliminated fear and rerouted communication paths in their brains. So that way they could communicate with each other better. Okay. And I think that might have created language, which led to, obviously, almost immediate domination over all the other subspecies, because they could immediately communicate with one another. Like, interesting. Like, you know, words and understanding and, like, actually speaking. Because, like, we're the only animal that speaks. Right. On this planet. Like, it's a little weird, you know?
That's crazy. Yeah.
I think about that all the time, actually. I'm like, damn, like, we're the only ones that, like, talk to each other like that. Like, that's just a weird... Like, I could pick up my phone and talk to someone on the other side of the planet right now.
Yeah.
Like, what would an animal have to do to talk to an animal on the other side of the planet?
You know?
That'd be like a life journey just to get there. You know, it's like...
True.
Like, let me skirt around the edges and hope that a land bridge comes out of the ocean and, like, gives me the ability to walk on water or some shit. Like, what do we even do at that point? Yeah, it's like...
Yeah.
I think about that all the time, actually. Like, it's crazy how everything is kind of, like... just connect, for lack of a better term, just connected. Yeah. You know, it's like everything is literally like a micro or a macro version of something else. Mm-hmm. Right? So, like, if you look at how we interact with each other, how the planet works in general, how the universe works, they're all very similar. So, like, if you look at the planet as a planetary scale, and you look at, like, the people and the animals and the plants and the water and all that, it, like, all operates on, like, this ecosystem. Right. Like, and then if you shrink in and you look at our cells, we're millions of billions of cells that are linked together by this weird energy that somehow knows how to always look like me. Yeah. Even though the cells are constantly dying and being remade, it constantly is in this same form and doesn't change more. I mean, obviously you have little changes over time, but, like, more or less, like, people don't really change. Like, you can always tell it's that person. Right. But unless they, like, get surgery or something, like, you can tell it's that person, you know? I don't know, man. It's
crazy. I mean, but it all makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, as I'd say, as crazy as it is, as broad as it is, you can look at it and it's like, and bring it down, shrink it down, and be like, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah.
It's really easy.
Well, that's what I was saying. Everything's the same.
Yeah, it is.
It's like the whole universe is literally the exact same as when you zoom in, you look at a microscope of your cells, like, they look almost the same.
Right.
Like, when you zoom in and look at your cells, it literally looks like when you look into a telescope and look up into space. Yeah. That's trippy, because it's like, which one is real? Like, because both of them are just what you're seeing through a little lens.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It's like...
It is. Oh. That's why I think we overthink a lot.
Yeah.
It's like, life, I mean, even though it has these different instances, it's really simple and basic if we think about it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think life wants to live. Yeah. And when I say live, I mean live in a positive manner that's good for all of life. Right. And I think that life is literally the energy that, like, makes us want to continue. Yeah. Everything. Not just us, but, like, animals and trees and everything. Like, life is, like, this energy that literally makes us want to survive. To, like, what is it that makes me want to provide legacy and, like, have, like, you know, like... But then on the other end, it makes me think, like, what would it be like to not want that?
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about that? Like,
I haven't much.
I mean, how would we exist? If we were creatures of just, like, animals, like, what would be, like, there would be no point to anything. It's like, if this planet was just, like, a planet of animals and we were just another one,
there wouldn't be a point. Yeah.
Why? Like, who cares? Right. Like, it's like... not a whole lot going on, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Like, it makes it interesting that it's like, that there are all these details, that we overthink things, and, like, and at the end of the day, one of the things that kind of keeps my curiosity turning is, like, where did those thoughts come from? Right. Like, why do I feel that way? Why can't I just look at something and take it for face value? Yeah. Why, like, what is that thought that comes in your brain? It's like, well... it could be, and then you have, like, all these, like...
there's tons of theories.
Yeah, theories and elaborate, like, well, what ifs? Right. At the end of the day, I think it just comes down to, like, we have now.
That's it.
And your perspective, and that's it.
And that's, like, all we have. Yeah. I actually had a t-shirt that said, all we have is now. Yeah. And that's literal, like, that's all we have right now. Nothing's guaranteed tomorrow. Mm-hmm.
Nothing's guaranteed tomorrow, and you can't perfectly remember yesterday. No. Like we just talked about. Literally, it is impossible. Like, even if you think you have a perfect memory, it's impossible. As a human being, when you think of things, you change details. Like, literally, that's how a brain works. Like, it's impossible for it to work any other way. And so, like, every time you think back to something, you're changing little details here and there. Like,
I think that's what pushes us along. Like, forget about that shit that happened back then. Just keep going. It's right now. Focus on that.
Yeah. Because like how I mean, it's just like nothing else matters. Because like I mean, if you really want to get literal, the person that existed 10 years ago literally 100% does not exist anymore.
Yeah.
Because the mindset has changed, and then on a physical level, every single cell has died and been recreated.
Yeah.
Every single one of them by that point. Like, that's way more than enough time for every single cell to have died and created and regenerated new cells. So, like, literally, you are not the same person.
Yeah. So
like,
we're designed to progress.
Yeah.
That's it. Just go.
Yeah. I love that. I love that, dude. That's so cool, man. All right, so with your mentorship, what is, like, the goal? Like, what do you want to happen with the mentorship? What is, like, the best case scenario?
Best case scenario is every entrepreneur that I touch, every brand that I connect can really get to their goal and go past it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times I meet with people that are kind of like, I want to be at a certain place, but I don't see myself being there. And a lot of times it's me, you know, I've had brands where I've had to talk them off the ledge, like, I think you should keep going.
Yeah.
And then I've had some that are like, I don't think it's the money. I think you just need to put more into this particular aspect of your business. So, yeah, at the end of the day, I just want everybody that I touch to succeed. And I want for myself to be able to feel that I've given them everything that I can.
Yeah.
To help them succeed.
What do you think is like the biggest issue you see? Is it from what I'm hearing you say? It sounds like people romanticizing the content and not understanding the strategy.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of that, but I think it's some don't have they don't believe in themselves as much as they should. That's what I think.
Well, I mean, this sounds a little harsh at the end of the day, but it's not even a matter of believing in yourself. Like, I mean, yeah, that's important, and you need to believe in yourself. But at the end of the day, it's not even a matter of you. It's a strategy.
Yeah.
It's literally a strategy and a tool that if you use it the right way, it will work.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
It's not a question of like, oh, well, I have this ability or that ability. It's like, okay, well, can you watch a YouTube video? Can you do what they say to do on the YouTube video?
Yeah.
Then you can build a brand.
That's true.
Like,
yeah, and I mean, it's tough because a lot of times you'll get an entrepreneur that is like, it'll click, like, you're right, I can do that. But then you'll get another one that's like, I've had my parents, I've had my friends, family that said that this is a bad idea.
But I think that is also the differentiator that makes it possible.
Right.
Because if everyone did it, then no one would be able to do it. Because, like, everybody wants to be able to go to McDonald's. Everybody wants to be able to go to Walmart and get their groceries and check out. Everybody wants to be able to go online and have moderators and have chat support. Everybody wants to be able to go to the bank and have somebody that's there protecting their money and their assets. That doesn't exist if there's people that every single human being is ambitious and wants to build their own legacy.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with, as long as you feel happy with being in those, I want to preface this, like, as long as you feel happy with being in those positions, there is nothing wrong with that at all.
Right.
But I think when you're looking at the term of success in this regard, like success meaning that you've built something, and success meaning that you're going for the financial, and like that's your focus, is like, you know, building a community and a legacy, and like that's what I'm defining right now as success, because success can mean anything to anyone. Ultimately, success is just being happy with where you're at in life.
Yeah.
But whenever you're shooting for success, the reason why they say only 2% of people are successful, excuse me, is because 98% of people don't put any effort in.
Yeah. I totally agree with that.
Like, but that's not a bad thing, because it's just a fact.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you just have to get to a point where it's self-realization. If you're the kind of person that's happy working for someone else, go find the best job that you can find where you're doing something you believe in and you can be excited to go work for that person every day.
Yeah.
If you're the kind of person like me that would rather die than sit in an office every day, then by God, go do something about it and build something so that you don't have to go to the office the next day. Like, those are the choice. Like, either deal with it and love it, or get out of it and love it. Like, that's how you become successful. And so it's just a thing where like I said, the reason why only 2% of people are successful is because 98% don't try. So it's just like, it's not even a matter of believing in yourself. It's a matter of self-realization and following the plan. If you're the kind of person that can succeed, then you will follow the plan. That's just how it works. You may follow a different strategy and you may do it differently, but you will do it.
Right.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Like, you may do it differently, but you will ultimately do the same thing.
Right.
And so, like, at the end of the day, it's building something not that you believe in. It's not believing in yourself. It's literally just picking something that makes you happy and following the steps.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, it sounds ridiculously easy, but it is a lot of work. However, on the same token, it is really that easy. Like, it's really, like, there's not a lot of steps. The steps just get so deep when you when you go lateral with that big idea, you can really go deep with those things. Like, when I say build a brand, you may start out with one post a week, and your photo is a picture of you, and your banner is maybe a picture of your building. And then 6 months from now, you realize you want to get more in depth. So you create a custom logo, custom video banners. You've got, you up it to every single day, and now you're posting 7 days a week. You've got logos, you got like, you can make those progressions as you go. Right. But it's just a matter of doing it. It's literally just like, either you do it and you get the success that is guaranteed because it's a numbers game, and literally you put in and then you get out. Yeah. That's it. Like, they tell you're going to get 2% click-through conversion on this by sending it out to the moms that have kids who have Apple products. Out of the 200,000 people that'll see it, 2% of those people will probably click on it. Like, they give you those numbers before you even put the money in.
Right.
So it's literally like, it's just a matter of doing it and not doing it. Yeah. And so whenever people complain and they have all these excuses and stuff, like, it drives me freaking through the roof, man.
That's when you know it's something else.
Yeah, I can't. That's when I know that they're lying to me. Is when people start giving me all these excuses, and I'm like, come on, bro. Like, and why are you really not doing this?
Yeah, and that's what I do, is actually digging down and finding out why. Yeah, I've had some. It's like, my such and such won't give me the money.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is actually self-depreciation. Personally, that's what I think. From what I've seen and, like, people I've talked to and stuff, I think that people are self-sabotagers and they don't realize it.
Yes.
So, like, what happens is you know exactly what you need to be doing. You've got the design, you've got the skeleton, you've got the plans, but something inside of you, like, you just do these little things that throw you back. Yeah. That set you back, like, constantly. And you throw these own little twigs into your own path instead of just, like, trusting it and just going with the path. You know, it's like you're constantly looking for things to fix instead of just, like, going with it. Yeah. And that's what I try to do, is I go with the flow, and then if something comes up in my face and it's like, this is broken, or I think of something like, oh, this could be better if, I just dive into that and I finish it, and then I go back to just, all right, cool.
That's good.
It's good now until something's not good, and then we'll do something else with it,
Right.
That's where the phrase, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
That's where it comes from, It's like, you've got to believe in the process. You've got to believe in communication. It's ultimately like, I mean, sure, if you're nihilistic and you don't think that people are out to help each other, and you think that everything's dark and negative and whatever, then sure, maybe you won't believe that.
Yeah.
But I believe, like what we talked about earlier, that life wants to live. And I think that people at the end of the day are not ultimately evil. I think that everyone thinks that they're the hero of their own story. And even if you're Hitler, and it's not like on our perspective of things, like, obviously that was terrible. He thought that he was helping his people. Just like the Roman Crusaders and, like, all the, the Christian Crusaders that killed all those people and burned all that stuff. I mean, we live in a society that's built on the foundation of that right now. Like, where we're at right now is built on the foundation of burning people because we said that they were witches.
Right.
Or, like, taking people's lands and kicking them out and making them walk to a different state. because we wanted those lands. Like that's the life that we're like living on top of.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's just perspective, man. Like things could be so much worse, and like everybody is basically living in this like beautiful like life. And it's just like there's no point to going back to all that, because now we've progressed to this point with communication where it's like you can see all this terrible shit that's happened and understand it, and then you see that and it's like, why would I do that? You know, it's like everyone wants to be the hero of their own story, and when you can understand what a villain is because you can see all the stories from all the other places that you wouldn't have otherwise heard of, then you know what a villain is.
Yeah.
Like nobody probably told Hitler that was bad. He was probably a really like upbeat, like what I imagine Hitler to be like is like, when I say like me, I don't mean like me like my thought process and like sentiments and obviously like that kind of thing, but in the way that I'm able to manipulate people without trying to manipulate people. Like for almost my whole life, I have to be very careful with the way that I talk to people about things. Like when I'm trying to convince someone, because I try to get their genuine mindset if we have opposing thought processes, but the way that I put my words together is I'm really good at like convincing people to, or like just getting people to believe what I'm saying, even when I'm not trying, and I'm literally just like trying to hear their perspective. I'll say something and then they're like, oh well, that sounds cool, I guess I believe what you're saying. So it's like he was probably like that. Like he started saying some crazy shit and maybe one person was like, that's kind of weird, and then everybody else is like, nah dude, that sounds exactly right, that's the shit, man, like look, this guy knows what's up. And so he was like, oh okay, well here's this other crazy thing, what's up, what do you think of this crazy thing? And then and then constantly grow and grow and grow, and like I mean nothing happens overnight. Like that's what that's the big story. Like, and it would be so impactful if we could look at how that was created so that we can never let that happen again.
Right.
Because then you could always understand the signs. You know, it's like someone was his parent.
Yeah.
Like, someone was his friend. Someone was his wife.
Yeah.
Like, what did those people do?
Right.
Like, if my fiance just started, like, spouting off some shit about, like, killing random people and, like, all this kind of thing, I'd be like, dude, what the hell? No, bye.
Right.
Goodbye. Like, no. No. Like, no, thank you. Like, I don't want to be a part of that. Right. So, when you realize, like, all those people that are around him, and even, like, Nazism now, like, even as terrible as it is, like, look at all the people, even in America, that still believe in that shit.
Yeah.
And are still following it.
Right.
Like, everyone is the hero of their own story. And from his perspective, he was helping his group to win, his tribe to win over everyone else. It's just like a warped perspective of like, you know, of life. Instead of it being all inclusive, it was, we're better. Like, let's make the world better by making us the only ones. So it was like a warped way of looking at it. Yeah. But when you realize like we all are just as important, and we all have to be there for the planet to be there. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Just like for your body, like if a cell's missing, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Like if you're missing a piece of DNA that tells you to like kick the flu, then guess what?
Right.
The first time that your nose starts sniffling, you're gonna die.
Yeah. Survival.
That is one strain of DNA, one little tiny little molecule inside of your body that says when you get a disease, not to get that disease again. So that your immunity can learn that one little tiny thing.
Amazing, yeah.
If that's missing, you're done. First time you get a flu, you're done.
Right. Hey. Yeah, it's true, man. This is good. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, dude. It's been like
it's crazy.
It blows my mind how intricate like things can really get when you look at it from an altruistic, positive point of view.
Yeah.
So, one of the last things I'm very curious. That I always ask every single one of my guests is, let's say you're just starting out, yourself, right? You have no idea what you want to do. You just know you want to do something. You're trying to make a big impact. You know you want to share your story. You want to do something, but you have no idea what distribution vehicle that might, turn out in. You just know you want to do something. What do you tell that person? Directly to that kid.
I say be genuine. follow your gut
Mm-hmm.
and try not to hurt anybody along the way.
All right. I like that. Short and sweet to the point. I like it. All right. So where can people find you? What are the best social profiles, your websites, all that good stuff?
Best social profile would be Instagram
Okay.
at the J Hall and at the J Hall brand. Website, thejhall.us is where you can find me. So those are the three best ways.
All right. Awesome. And all of those links will be obviously in the description and all that good details and everything.
Absolutely.
So, dude, it's been so awesome having you on today, man. Thank you so much for coming out.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. It's been an awesome podcast.
Right.
I will see you again here next week on another episode of the Wednesday Wanderer. See you guys. Bye.
Cool.
Yay!
That was really good. And just saying the Christmas tree makes this whole room look pop.
I know, right?
Yeah. I love it.
I actually did the lights.
That's cool, man. This is a good look.
Thanks. It took a long time, I'm not gonna lie.
I was in my throat the whole time.
I know, right?
Oh,
I've had the
word?
fuzz in my throat for like the past 15 minutes.
Oh, man.
I was trying to think of a question I could ask you to get you talking for a minute. That's why when I asked you the thing, I started drinking water and then you answered 3 words. I was like, ah, damn it. I don't have no time. You're fine.
Oh man, this is good. I really appreciate you guys, having me over and doing this.
Yeah, dude, it was awesome.
I know it's not always easy to have somebody in your space, so.
Oh, hey, let me show you what I was telling you about.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I love the smell of winter. Why does it smell so good?
Whew, that was good.
Yeah.
That was a really good conversation, actually. We got into a lot of good
A lot of stuff, man.
Yeah. All right, so this is my website. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I've looked at all of it.
And then this is the new page. So
Okay.
it's still kind of buggy for some reason. The header the details will change obviously because it's a brand new page I just created. But for some reason it keeps bugging out and on some browsers it's got the updated header and the stuff that I put in, and then on other browsers it's got the past version. So I don't know what the hell's going on with it, but basically this is what it looks like, except it has my branding and stuff behind it, my photo that I took and everything. And everybody gets their own page. So this is Jace's, except this is a picture of him. That's obviously
smart,
And then the video, all the links to where you can listen, the links where you can watch the podcast itself.
Nice.
A brief little, overview kind of thing.
I love
and then just some photos of the person, and then at the bottom it's got their socials, listen, watch, more podcasts.
That's smart.
So it's all self-hosted in my environment. And so
that's good.
In my website.
That's what you do. I actually had a couple of brands ask about, because I have small case studies of who I mentor and everything, just basic, showing their Kickstarters or whatever. But they're like, hey, are you down to promote?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I have, but they're like, hey, if we're on your page for a month or something, promoting what they do, it's we'll pay you. Yeah. So I'm kind of thinking about doing it, but I don't want it to just become a promotion type site.
Right.
So I don't know. Well, what do you think? What are your thoughts on it?
You could do a blog about it.
Okay.
So that's what I was going to show you actually. So I got that idea to do the podcast layout thing like that because I actually have a blog.
Okay.
That I have on the website. And so this is the same thing, but it also has all the blogs.
Got it.
Right? So for example, I'll click on this one.
Baby, you need to order a new case ASAP. It's
I know.
It barely stays on.
And so you can see it's got the photo of me, it's got a clip. It's just photos and a blog, it's a text.
That's dope.
Thing. And that I used this template that I created to then create the one for the podcast that I made. So then it kind of matches the same
I like
and
it.
stuff like that. But you could do a blog and then just do stuff about that brand or shout out. And so instead of it being
Babe, can I unplug the mic?
yeah, you're fine. Cool. Instead of it being